Barwesa, this amendment of this constitution has come not at the right time, Mr. Speaker. They need a change, but not at this moment, Mr. Speaker. We need to fix our emergencies before time, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, from the BBI report, Mr. Speaker, the BBI was intended to unite Kenya, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kesey. Order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want to, the honorable member from Baringo. I come from Baringo, Mr. Speaker, sir. And I want the honorable member from Baringo to tell me or to tell this house when was the public participation done and when did the people of Baringo speak? Because I come from Baringo. I didn't see any publication on the newspaper to show that these are the comments of the people of Baringo. These are the comments of the women of Baringo. These are the comments of the people and the youth from Baringo. I wish the honorable member from Baringo to clearly state, maybe I'm sleeping on my job, maybe I didn't see the publication. Let the member tell me when they did the publication and the public participation in Baringo.
Honorable, proceed. What is the concern, Honorable Julia? Honorable Julia, Honorable Kibai, take your seat.
Mr. Speaker, I raise one point of concern, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Kesey, Mr. Speaker, is currently living in Wasingishu County. Monica is the Speaker of Wasingishu County. She's no longer in Baringo. She's no longer in Baringo. She's like the Honorable House, Mr. Speaker. Order.
Order. I want to give direction on that. Order, everybody on your seat. Honorable Julia, I want to address the issue that Honorable Julia said. Can you resume your seats? Honorable Francisca, I'll give you. But I needed to. Honorable Julia, all the members. Honorable Julia, I want to protect Honorable Kesey on this. Order. Order, members. Order. I want to protect the personal issues of members. So, Honorable Julia, you are out of order to bring issues that do not. Yes. Please apologize and withdraw and apologize.
Mr. Speaker, before I withdraw the
order, please, order. Please apologize and withdraw. Honorable Julia. Honorable Julia, you have not done the honorable thing.
She will do it even 10 times. And I apologize, but she lives in my
It's okay. Can we then proceed? There's somewhere he was still contributing. Finalize your contribution.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thirdly, and the last, Mr. Speaker, the BBI document since inception, Mr. Speaker, has caused more division in Kenya than uniting it as it was intended, Mr. Speaker. So I oppose, Mr. Speaker, this BBI report. I oppose this motion, Mr. Speaker, because our constitution is to protect Kenya and unite Kenya, Mr. Speaker. Anything we can disunite Kenya, Mr. Speaker, I won't conquer with it, Mr. Speaker. So I stand to oppose, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mcas.
thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to go on record also. Mr. Speaker, protect me, Mr. Speaker, from the noise.
Order, honorable members. Honorable Betty, come down. Honorable Julia, come down. Let's proceed.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I just want to go on record that to support this motion. Mr. Speaker, I know some of our honorable members, they have not gone through, and especially if this bill or the BPI, if it will not pass, I pity some of the honorable members who are here, because the next qualification for you to, if BPI will not pass, you are going to be required to have a degree. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't know which time some of our colleagues here will take, because we only have one year and a degree. Mr. Speaker, I just want to say, Mr. Speaker, I want to support this motion.
Honorable Kibai, what is the point of order, Honorable Kibai?
Mr. Speaker, with due respect in this House, and the people of Kenya and the people of Baringo. Yes. Mr. Speaker, you had ruled for sure that we should not deal with private life of members. Mr. Speaker, so Mr. Speaker, I think Honorable Solomon Mcas is out of order to insinuate that Honorable Julia Kandie is a class 7 dropout, whereas he is not his teacher and he don't know about Julia. So Speaker, it's now it's true. I agree with your ruling. So you should invoke your orders, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. And I should thank the members now for keeping calm.
Honorable Makal, in as much as that is true, but issue of certification is a fact. So Honorable Julia knows where she has gone. So even if somebody says that at 1 or 7, your certificates will bear you right. Yes. But even then, Honorable Makal, you take note of that.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying, before if you are driving, you cross palms first. And the palms, Mr. Speaker, which I'm telling our colleagues, it's not in a bad taste anyway. It is, I'm telling them, if they don't pass PPI, they have to go and look for degrees. Because I know majority here, they don't have degrees. So this PPI bill is very important, because when it passes, it gives anybody to fight, Mr. Speaker. Nonetheless, what they not scaring is a fact. Another issue, Mr. Speaker, why I support this motion is because there is World Development Fund. World Development Fund will assist ourselves, our electorates. And again, Mr. Speaker, there is increase of 35% of revenue to counties. So I'm here to support this motion. And I request honorable members, because of the issue of degrees, you understand also, you just fought for this thing.
Thank you. On my right now, I've given to this side. On my right, yes, Baringo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Also arise to oppose this motion, Mr. Speaker, sir, on the following grounds, Mr. Speaker, sir. One, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that I know it is written that there will be an increment of 35% that will come to account, Mr. Speaker, sir. But I want to tell you, Mr. Speaker, sir, following history in this country, Mr. Speaker, sir, we know regimes, they only wanted this BBI to go through, but we know, Mr. Speaker, sir, the state of economy of this country is actually down, Mr. Speaker, sir. And I remember, Mr. Speaker, sir, when I tell you in 1997, there was teachers were supposed to have an increment of 100%, 150%, Mr. Speaker, sir. But after elections of 1997, Mr. Speaker, sir, it became just a lie. Up to this date, nobody has ever got that increment. No, even this one, Mr. Speaker, sir, the increase of 35% that is being said, it will never happen, Mr. Speaker, sir, considering the economy at the moment. Mr. Speaker, sir, the MPs, the increment of MPs from 349 to around 600, Mr. Speaker, sir, I wonder whether the National Assembly will have how many chambers, Mr. Speaker, sir. I think it will eat into taxpayers' money, and at the same time, Mr. Speaker, sir, the debate in that assembly is one thing. You can imagine, Mr. Speaker, sir, 600 MPs seated in one chamber. How will they debate, Mr. Speaker, sir? I think this is, Mr. Speaker, sir, even if we want a representation, but when you go to other countries like America, Mr. Speaker, sir, one person or one elected person can represent so many people, Mr. Speaker, sir. But this one, Mr. Speaker, sir, I think it is not auguring well to our people, and so therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, I am not supporting this motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, last but not least, I overheard, Mr. Speaker, sir, one of our leaders, our national leaders, told his people in the mother tongue that the BPI that we have at the moment, the number of constituencies in some other areas have not been featured. They are hidden. And I remember mentioning Yatike as one of the constituencies that's going to be splitted, yet it is not reflected anywhere, Mr. Speaker, sir. So this amendment bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, is only there to actually outwin our citizens, and therefore I cannot, on behalf of my constituents, support this motion, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand to oppose this motion.
Honorable Salamoy.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this bill, having been a bill, like most of our honorable members have just said, that this is not our bill. It originated from the national through BBI Secretary. However, Mr. Speaker, this bill contains enormous advantages to the people of Kenya, and specifically the people of Baringo, and more importantly, the people of Turamaya. And I want to lay these facts. Mr. Speaker, you are aware, in the current dispensation, Baringo County government, Baringo County at large receives, out of the 15% national allocation, receives 6.2 billion. In this bill, Mr. Speaker, the people of Baringo County will receive around 16.8 billion. That is over excess of over 100% increase. Mr. Speaker, in this bill, I have just checked, and because this is the first day we got to have the bill, and because of the rush and flouting of the procedure which was discussed earlier by myself and others, this bill has enabled constituency development fund, which each constituency in Baringo will be beneficiary, to be anchored in law. Remember, it has been hanging under amorphous. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, in this bill, there is a creation of ward development fund, and the bill suggests 5% of the county revenue that I have just mentioned to be 16.8 billion. 5% of that will go to our wards. Just can you imagine the people seated here as honorable members, elected honorable members, and some are nominated who may seek election? Can you imagine controlling over 60 million money in your ward? I can't imagine, Mr. Speaker. The one I'm controlling right now is 10 million. An increase of a 50 is worth supporting this bill. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, there is a creation of youth commission and a youth fund, which will benefit the youth in Churu Amaya and among 29 other wards in Baringo. That is a plus that is created by this bill. Mr. Speaker, I have just run into a clause that is very, very important for the rest of Kenya. The CRA framework that has been laid here in this bill. Remember, Mr. Speaker, every year we get a tussle between National Assembly and the Senate, tussling over annual division of revenue, up to some time taking many, many months and infringing allocation of funds to counties. In this bill, Mr. Speaker, it creates a framework that is seamless and that is workable. And I thought, Mr. Speaker, having coming from a marginalized community like Pokot, this is a God-given chance for funds to trickle down to my ward and constituency. Mr. Speaker, there are other benefits which the honorable members will want us to not mention. In this bill, Mr. Speaker, it suggests that out of the 12 county or 10 county executive members, otherwise called ministers, half of that will come from MCAs, member of county assemblies. And I will imagine if the people of Churu Amaya will elect me back, I will want to be a CEC in charge of a docket. So to many of you, that is provided, honorable members, in this bill. Mr. Speaker, I know, as you know, that politics, be as it may, even good things, even a road to heaven, will make you reject a road to heaven. And I'm just trying to imagine what has just happened to our honorable members from Jubilee Party, who are custodians of their own government. Remember, I am a Kanu elected member of county assembly, ostensibly an opposition member. No. Remember, no, wait, I'm going to the coalition. Now, Mr. Speaker, when I was elected, I came here as an opposition member of county assembly from Kanu Party. And then along the way, because of the gerrymandering, some guys did not want to belong to government, and because there were empty seats that side, that is when Kanu made a coalition agreement with you. Otherwise, we didn't want to join you in the first place. Nonetheless, Mr. Speaker, there is what I have just read, the mood of this House. Having seen the nominated member of county assembly from Jubilee wanting to shoot down their bill, and secondly, wait, Honorable Kimosop. Give him a chance. I was trying to imagine what is happening. Then it came to my mind that there is national politics in play, which is healthy, and I like that. Mr. Speaker, this bill is not a contest between my friend, Honorable His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, against Senator Gideon of Baringo. Nor is it a contest.
Honorable Samoei, you cannot bring in the names of people who cannot defend themselves.
But they are honorable members.
Please refrain.
They are our leaders. This is not a contest between them. But because we happen to lean on that side, this is my advice. Honorable members, that even if we want to play the gallery of the national politics, first of all, be selfish enough and get what will benefit you more. What will make me join the government of William Ruto if he wins 2022 and I win and you lose. So, honorable members, there are what we call high-end benefits of this game. And I'm trying to imagine, I'm not a teller. I can imagine that in this assembly, Honorable Speaker, and even before that, there are some disadvantages in this bill that I've seen. And these are some of the things that if we had soberly debated this matter, we will be in concurrence and agreement. For example, the National Security Council. The National Security Council is so disadvantageous to the people of theater, according to this bill. But because you guys are just temperamentally, whipped emotions on this thing.
That you've just used an unparliamentary language. They are honorable members, not guys.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry if I said that. Then, Mr. Speaker, today, I'm just a disappointed member of LGA because the tenets of our standing orders being orchestrated by the leadership of this House, led by yourself, my good friend, Honorable Leader of Majority, my good friend, Honorable Leader of Majority Whip, Honorable Ruben Jefferson, and others, including the loyalty of nominated Jubilee MCS, and even our renowned CPA, the clerk, have just trashed.
Order. Honorable Selemoy.
Now,
that's member of staff.
I withdraw. Mr. Speaker, I've just slided into annal of history as people or officers or leaders who don't allow procedure. No. And for that matter, Mr. Speaker, this is
they are unable even to afford school fees for their children, Mr. Speaker. Insecurity in Baringo, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to the people of Baruesa, this amendment of this constitution has come not at the right time, Mr. Speaker. They need a change, but not at this moment, Mr. Speaker. We need to fix our emergencies before time, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we're on the BBI report, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the BBI was intended to unite Kenya, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kesey. Order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me the opportunity, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want to, the honorable member from Baruesa. I come from Baruesa, Mr. Speaker, sir. And I want the honorable member from Baruesa to tell me or to tell this House when was the public participation done and when did the people of Baruesa speak? Because I come from Baruesa. I didn't see any publication on the newspaper to show that these are the comments of the people of Baruesa. These are the comments of the women of Baruesa. These are the comments of the people and the youth from Baruesa. I wish the honorable member from Baruesa to clearly state, maybe I'm sleeping on my job, maybe I didn't see the publication. Let the member tell me when they did the publication and the public participation in Baruesa.
Honorable Rono, proceed. What is the concern, Honorable Julia? Honorable Julia, Honorable Kibai, take your seat.
Mr. Speaker, I raise one point of concern, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Mr. Speaker, is currently living in Wasingishu County. Married by the Speaker of Wasingishu County. She's no longer in Baringo. She's no longer in Baruesa. She's like the Honorable House, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Order. I want to give direction on that. Order, everybody on your seat. Honorable Julia. I want to address the issue that Honorable Julia said. Can you resume your seats? Honorable Francis, I'll give you. but I needed to. Honorable Julia. On all the members. Honorable Julia, I want to protect Honorable Kese on this. Order. Order, members. Order. I want to protect the personal issues of members. So, Honorable Julia, you are out of order to bring issues that do not. Yes. Please apologize and withdraw and apologize.
Mr. Speaker, before I withdraw the
Order. Please, order. Please apologize and withdraw. Honorable Julia. Honorable Julia, you have not done the honorable thing.
And I apologize, but she lives in my
You are making it. It's okay. Can we then proceed? There's somewhere you were still contributing. Finalize your contribution.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thirdly, and the last, Mr. Speaker, the BBI document since inception, Mr. Speaker, has caused more division in Kenya than uniting it was as it was intended. So I oppose, Mr. Speaker, this BBI report. I oppose this motion, Mr. Speaker, because our constitution is to protect Kenyan and unite Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. Anything we can disunite Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, I won't conquer with it, Mr. Speaker. So I stand to oppose, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mcas.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to go on record also. Mr. Speaker, protect me, Mr. Speaker, from the language, please.
Order, honorable members. Honorable Betty, please come down. Honorable Julia, come down. Let's proceed.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I just want to go on record that to support this motion. Mr. Speaker, I know some of our honorable members, they have not gone through, and especially if this bill or the BPI, if it will not pass, I pity some of the honorable members who are here, because the next qualification for you to, if BPI will not pass, you are going to be required to have a degree. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't know which time some of our colleagues here will take, because we only have one year, and a degree will. Mr. Speaker, I just want to say, Mr. Speaker, I want to support this motion.
Honorable Kibai, what is the point of order, Honorable Kibai?
Mr. Speaker, with due respect in this House, and the people of Kenya and the people of Baringo. Mr. Speaker, you had ruled for sure that we should not deal with private life of members. Mr. Speaker, so Mr. Speaker, I think Honorable Solomon Mcas is out of order to insinuate that Honorable Julia Kandie is a class 7 dropout, whereas he is not his teacher and he don't know about Julia. Mr. Speaker, it's true. I agree with your ruling. So you should invoke your orders, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. And I should thank the members now for keeping calm.
Honorable Mcas, in as much as that is true, but issue of certification is a fact. So Honorable Julia knows where she has gone. So even if somebody says that at 1 or 7, your certificates will bear you right.
Yes.
But even then, Honorable Mcas, you take note of that.
Okay, Mr.
Proceed.
Speaker, what I'm saying, before if you are driving, you cross palms first. And the palms, Mr. Speaker, which I'm telling our colleagues, is not in a bad taste anyway. It is, I'm telling them, if they don't pass PPI, they have to go and look for degrees. Because I know majority here, they don't have degrees. So this PPI bill is very important because when it passes, it gives anybody to fight the Speaker. Nonetheless, they not scaring, this is a fact. Another issue, Mr. Speaker, why I support this motion is because there is World Development Fund. World Development Fund will assist ourselves, our electorates. And again, Mr. Speaker, there is increase of 35% of revenue to counties. So I'm here to support this motion. And I request honorable members, because of the issue of degrees, you understand also, you just vote for this thing.
Thank you. On my right now, I've given to this side. On my right, yes, Baringo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also arise to oppose this motion, Mr. Speaker, sir, on the following grounds, Mr. Speaker, sir. One, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that I know it is written that there will be an increment of 35% that will come to account, Mr. Speaker, sir. But I want to tell you, Mr. Speaker, sir, following history in this country, Mr. Speaker, sir, we know regimes, they only wanted this BBI to go through, but we know, Mr. Speaker, sir, the state of economy of this country is actually down, Mr. Speaker, sir. And I remember, Mr. Speaker, sir, when I tell you in 1997, there was teachers were supposed to have an increment of 100%, 150%, Mr. Speaker, sir. But after elections of 1997, Mr. Speaker, sir, it became just a lie. Up to this date, nobody has ever got that increment. No, even this one, Mr. Speaker, sir, the increase of 35% that is being said, it will never happen, Mr. Speaker, sir, considering the economy at the moment. Mr. Speaker, sir, the MPs, the increment of MPs from 349 to around 600, Mr. Speaker, sir, I wonder whether the National Assembly will have how many chambers, Mr. Speaker, sir. I think it will eat into taxpayers' money, and at the same time, Mr. Speaker, sir, the debate in that assembly is one thing. You can imagine, Mr. Speaker, sir, 600 MPs seated in one chamber. How will they debate, Mr. Speaker, sir? I think this is, Mr. Speaker, sir, even if we want the representation, but when you go to other countries like America, Mr. Speaker, sir, one person or one elected person can represent so many people, Mr. Speaker, sir. But this one, Mr. Speaker, sir, I think it is not auguring well to our people, and so therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, I am not supporting this motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, last but not least, I overheard, Mr. Speaker, sir, one of our leaders, our national leaders, told his people in the mother tongue that the BPI that we have at the moment, the number of constituencies in some other areas have not been featured. They are hidden. And I remember mentioning Yatike as one of the constituencies that's going to be splitted, yet it is not reflected anywhere, Mr. Speaker, sir. So this amendment bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, is only there to actually outwin our citizens, and therefore I cannot, on behalf of my constituents, support this motion, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand to oppose this motion.
Honorable Salamoy.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this bill, having been a bill, like most of our honorable members have just said, that this is not our bill, it originated from the national through BBI secretary. However, Mr. Speaker, this bill contains enormous advantages to the people of Kenya and specifically the people of Baringo, and more importantly, the people of Amaya. And I want to lay these facts. Mr. Speaker, you are aware in the current dispensation, Baringo County government, Baringo County at large receives, out of the 15% national allocation, receives 6.2 billion. In this bill, Mr. Speaker, the people of Baringo County will receive around 16.8 billion. That is over excess of over 100% increase. Mr. Speaker, in this bill, I have just checked, and because this is the first day we got to have the bill, and because of the rush and flouting of the procedure which was discussed earlier by myself and others, this bill has enabled Constituency Development Fund, which each constituency in Baringo will be beneficiary, to be anchored in law. Remember, it has been hanging and amorphous. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, in this bill, there is a creation of Ward Development Fund. And the bill suggests 5% of the county revenue that I have just mentioned to be 16.8 billion. 5% of that will go to our wards. Just can you imagine the people seated here as honorable members, elected honorable members, and some are nominated who may seek election? Can you imagine controlling over 60 million money in your ward? I can't imagine, Mr. Speaker. The one I'm controlling right now is 10 million. An increase of over 50 is worth supporting this bill. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, there is a creation of youth commission and a youth fund which will benefit the youth in Amaya and among 29 other wards in Baringo. That is a plus that is created by this bill. Mr. Speaker, I have just run into a clause that is very, very important for the rest of Kenya. The CRA framework that has been laid here in this bill. Remember, Mr. Speaker, every year we get a tussle between National Assembly and the Senate, tussling over annual division of revenue, up to some time taking many months and infringing allocation of funds to counties. In this bill, Mr. Speaker, it creates a framework that is seamless and that is workable. And I thought, Mr. Speaker, having coming from a marginalized community like Pokot, this is a God-given chance for funds to trickle down to my ward and constituency. Mr. Speaker, there are other benefits which the honorable members will want us to not mention. In this bill, Mr. Speaker, it suggests that out of the 12 county or 10 county executive members, otherwise called ministers, half of that will come from MCAs, member of county assemblies. And I will imagine if the people of Amaya will elect me back, I will want to be a CEC in charge of a docket. So to many of you, that is provided, honorable members, in this bill. Mr. Speaker, I know, as you know, that politics be as it may, even good things, even a road to heaven, will make you reject a road to heaven. And I'm just trying to imagine what has just happened to our honorable members from Jubilee Party, who are custodians of their own government. Remember, I am a Kanu elected member of County Assembly, ostensibly an opposition member. Remember, wait, I'm going to that coalition. Now, Mr. Speaker, when I was elected, I came here as an opposition member of County Assembly from Kanu Party. And then along the way, because of the gerrymandering, some guys did not want to belong to government, and because there were empty seats that side, that is when Kanu made a coalition agreement with you. Otherwise, we didn't want to join you in the first place. Nonetheless, Mr. Speaker, there is what I have just read, the mood of this House. Having seen the nominated member of County Assembly from Jubilee wanting to shoot down the bill, and secondly, wait, Honorable
Kimasop, give him a chance.
I was trying to imagine what is happening. Then it came to my mind that there is national politics in play, which is healthy, and I like that. Mr. Speaker, this bill is not a contest between my friend, Honorable His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, against Senator Gideon of Baringo. Nor is it a contest.
Honorable Samoei, you cannot bring in the names of people who cannot defend themselves.
But they are honorable members.
Please refrain.
They are our leaders. This is not a contest between them. But because we happen to lean on that side, this is my advice. Honorable members, that even if we want to play the gallery of the national politics, first of all, be selfish enough and get what will benefit you more. What will make me join the government of William Ruto if he wins 2022 and I win and you lose? So, honorable members, they are what we call high-end benefits of this game. And I'm trying to imagine, I'm not a teller. I can imagine that in this assembly, Honorable Speaker, and even before that, there are some disadvantages in this bill that I've seen. And these are some of the things that if we had soberly debated this matter, we will be in concurrence and agreement. For example, the National Security Council. The National Security Council is so disadvantageous to the people of Tiat, according to this bill. But because you guys have just temperamentally, whipped emotions on this thing.
That you've just used an unparliamentary language. They are honorable members, not guys.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry if I said that. Then, Mr. Speaker, today, I'm just a disappointed member of County Assembly because the tenets of our standing orders being orchestrated by the leadership of this House, led by yourself, my good friend, Honorable Leader of Majority, my good friend, Honorable Leader of Majority Whip, Honorable Ruben Jefferson, and others, including the loyalty of nominated Jubilee MCS, and even our renowned CPA, the clerk, have just trashed.
Order. Honorable Samoei.
Now,
that's member of staff.
I withdraw. Mr. Speaker, I've just slided into annals of history as people or officers or leaders who don't allow procedure. No. And for that matter, Mr. Speaker, this is the darkest side of our county assembly, when we don't follow procedures. And it will come and haunt you. Today it is this bill, tomorrow it is another that you favor. So, Mr. Speaker, I beg that even when emotions of national politics reign, this bill to the people of Baringo through public participation. There is no rush. There is no rush to pass this bill today. Let's take to the people of Baringo, then they give us their views, then enjoy the BBI funds, because they are funds. Why are we getting 2 million grant today and refusing to take money to the local Mwananchi in Baringo, in Mochongoi? In fact, the people of Mochongoi, if public participation will have been conducted in Baringo, each ward, including Mochongoi will have gotten 500,000 of public participation money, which Kimosop is denying them to get.
Thank you very much. I will come. It's okay. Let's proceed. Let's proceed. Member of Marigat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for according me the opportunity to contribute. Mr. Speaker, I stand here today to exercise the Constitution, Article number 1, that is the sovereignty power for the people of Marigat, which can be exercised directly by the people or indirectly by the elected representative. So, Mr. Speaker, today morning, before I came here, I had opportunity to launch a few projects in my ward, and the first signal that they gave me was shoot down the bill. So, Mr. Speaker, I stand here basically to represent the people of Marigat and their views. Mr. Speaker, I oppose the motion. Mr. Speaker, the BBI initiative, popularly sponsored by David Waweru and Junet Mohammed, is not the will of the people of Baringo or the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, this bill has created a lot of division, as we can see even in our own party, where our party leader seemed to devour on these issues with even the deputy party leader. Mr. Speaker, this bill must be shut down at this stage. Mr. Speaker, we cannot allow the public money to be wasted further in the issue of public participation or anything. It is in the wisdom that this bill must be shut down at this stage. Mr. Speaker, for example, I also happen to represent the people who believe in God. When they were launching this bill, one politician who seemed to be sponsoring this bill said that reggae must go home. Again, he said, and I quote, "Nyoka imetoka pangoni." It is my business when I'm in this house to make sure that this bill is shut down. Mr. Speaker, BBI has the risk of dividing this country. As we can see today, that people are pushing for big 5 communities to coalesce together and suppress other communities. Mr. Speaker, we must shoot this bill so that this country can get the right breathing, the correct leadership. Mr. Speaker, there is no hurry to amend the Constitution. I mean, Mr. Speaker, we don't need BBI to get 35% of revenue. We don't need BBI to get youth commission. Mr. Speaker, we do not need BBI to get more ward fund. Mr. Speaker, it is such embarrassing to listen to a member of this assembly to say that I will be controlling 60 million of ward fund. That when BBI will pass, I will be a member of executive, as a county executive member. We do not need to hold more than 2 positions in this country to be who you are. Mr. Speaker, so that another guy can get opportunity to be a CC and I get opportunity to be an MCA, I must shoot down this BBI. Mr. Speaker, BBI is proposing that we will have more members of parliament. Already, if BBI passes, we will have over 600 members of parliament. Mr. Speaker, if they are to introduce their names, each taking 1 minute, we will waste 600 hours, an equivalent of 60, or an equivalent of 10 hours, an equivalent of a whole day, just for the parliament, the national parliament, to introduce their names without saying anything that is affecting the people of this country. Mr. Speaker, as I close, for us to have better leadership, BBI must follow. For us to have a great future whereby democracy and the constitution is respected, we must vote no. So I oppose this initiative, and I say that it should not go more than this position. I give a challenge to other counties that they have not debated, that they should dispense this thing immediately by tomorrow or next week, and we deal with other businesses that are important for this country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member of Mochongoi.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for according me this opportunity. From the onset, Mr. Speaker, I want to state that I stand to oppose this motion. Mr. Speaker, our role in this House, and as everybody knows, and the way the Constitution gives us the roles, is oversight, legislation, and representation. In representation, Mr. Speaker, we take instructions from the areas or the constituencies that we represent. In this case, the 30 wards, and in the case of the specially elected, the constituencies they represent. That is the youth, the women, and other constituencies. And in the course of our work, Mr. Speaker, the whole of December holidays, the whole of January, we just resumed from recess. This is a matter of public debate that I can clearly interpret what the people of Mochongoi are saying. And they have sent me here that I fought no against this bill. And that is my representative role. Mr. Speaker, there are reasons why the members of the public are concerned. Number one, Mr. Speaker, is that it's not a priority. And I believe with our colleagues here to actually understand where we find ourselves as a country. We just came back from a national and international crisis. It is only yesterday, Mr. Speaker, when I saw another circular from addressed to the Council of Governors, and in that case, the Department of Health, that we are even getting another form of COVID-19, another form called SARS-19.
Honorable Council, you have a mask?
Yeah, no problem.
But please, we gave guidelines that you must be properly masked.
And so, Mr. Speaker, we have just emerged from that situation. We have not even emerged. We still have curfew. We are still required to respect the protocols. We do not have resources. Even here in Baringo, Mr. Speaker, like for example, Lake Bogoria, which is the highest earning revenue collector for Baringo, we just collected only 60,000 shillings in the last financial year because of the circumstances that we find ourselves. So I think we have a duty, and Mr. Speaker, my point number one is it is not a priority for now. That is my point number one. Mr. Speaker, the practicality of even what this document is suggesting. This document is suggesting that you will be in this House and you can be nominated as a CEC, performing executive functions, and the 2010 Constitution, Mr. Speaker, which I was a civic educator in 2010. We were taught heavily where there is clear demarcation between the legislature and the executive. And what has been happening even in this House is that it's so clear what happens with the executive and what happens with the legislature. So when you look at the practicality of how this, there will be 5 Cs, there may be CCs who are MCS. It is not definite. It is at the discretion of the governor. And just a point of information, Mr. Speaker, is this clause was not there. It is only when MCS met this team without proper research, they actually put it there. But when you look at the practicality, Mr. Speaker, it is not possible. The third item, Mr. Speaker, is the futility. Because the courts have even, so we are already there's a court order stopping IPC from running a referendum. Somehow, even if we pass and it does not go to a referendum, this house would have been subjected to an exercise in futility. And we need to show them that we are not that simple to be put there. Mr. Speaker, in terms of our the constituencies, this bill proposes 70 additional constituencies. But Mr. Speaker, the body report of PPI is that a lot of these constituencies are not in our areas, are not in Baringo, for example. We know the El Chamus community went to court and the court allowed them, but that because they are a minority community, they need to get a constituency. We know, for example, Mr. Speaker, that the Endorois community from Baringo South went to Gambia, court a ruling, and were defined as a minority community. Somebody has talked about the amount of population that the Tiati constituency has, the population that they have. I don't know whether it's true or not, but somebody has said that. And we expected, because the biggest proponents that time of this PPI was being led by the Member of Parliament of Tiati, Honorable Kamket. We expected that even Tiati was going to get a constituency. Mr. Speaker, there's no constituency. There's absolutely no constituency we are getting. We are just passengers to allow people. I saw the President of the Republic of Kenya yesterday telling Nairobi County that you will get more constituencies. And what the President was telling them is, there are people in this country who are getting 10,000 or 50,000 bursary, quoting the words of the President, and there are people in the same country who are getting less than 1,000 bursary, encouraging them that they were going to get more constituencies. We want to remind the President of this country, Mr. Speaker, that the former President of this country, Mr. Moi, are the reason why, when we were allocating constituencies, we looked at geographical distance. When you look, for example, Mr. Speaker, at sparse wards, like Marikat ward, for example, Mochongoi ward, for example, Kirioko, for example, are sizes of constituencies. When you compare that with Laikipia West, which I border, it will take you 1 day to go around Laikipia constituency despite having a huge population, and it may take you 1 month to go around either Kirioko or Mochongoi ward or Marikat ward. So, Mr. Speaker, we are being disadvantaged as people from the areas that are having huge spatial, pastoral, geographical areas. Mr. Speaker, the animosity we are witnessing in the country, we are headed for elections next year. And I want us to send a message as Baringo County Assembly that we are not deaf or blind to what is happening nationally. We have seen, for example, the kind of tensions that are rising politically. We have seen how heated this issue of PPI is. It was meant to unite us, but we can see what it has done. If we were going to open up this country for a referendum, Mr. Speaker, we are going to tear apart this country. And we saw what happened, Mr. Speaker, in 2005. We saw what happened in 2007. We saw what happened in 2000 and all these other years that we have had elections. So we have a duty also to add our voice in what is happening. Finally, Mr. Speaker, is that some of the things are wishful thinking. When you tell us, for example, there will be a youth commission. What has happened, Mr. Speaker, to the National Youth Council? Because we have the National Youth Council. What happened to the National Youth Council? We have the youth representatives here. I would want to challenge, for example, the youth representatives here to tell us whether they have been invited even to one forum of the National Youth Council. So some of these things are good things that are always done and said when we are preparing a strategic plan. What the economy needs, Mr. Speaker, is to grow the economy. Because my question is, members, We have no money in this country. Even if you were to increase to 40%, and you have killed the economy. This country, this government is going down as a government that borrowed heavily, more than what Kibaki did, more than what Moi did, and we are heavily in debt. So we have no money. There's no economy. You are promising us what you don't have. It's like promising a girlfriend, Mr. Speaker, a mansion that you don't have. I mean, where will the mansion come from if you don't have? So, Mr. Speaker, those are comments. There are a few misconceptions, Mr. Speaker. We are already enjoying the word fund, and there's nothing stopping the word fund that we have now. We do not need a constitutional review to have this word fund. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I oppose in totality this motion.
Honorable Kibet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, I arise to support this motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, from the onset, Mr. Speaker, how we wish that this motion would have traveled the journey that was required. Mr. Speaker, the component of public participation. Mr. Speaker, it is unfortunate that today we are here congregating and purporting. I've had members, Mr. Speaker, purporting that as they were going through supervising projects, as they were visiting their friends, as he was coming from his house, he consulted, and the friends and the wives and the people he met told him to go and say no to BBI. Mr. Speaker, we all know the procedure. Mr. Speaker, there is a reason why they say we need a public participation. Mr. Speaker, the 2010 Constitution was a product of constitutional making and need for the public to be engaged. Mr. Speaker, today we're here taking all that the public must have and giving ourselves the powers. Mr. Speaker, on my part, it would have been good and in order that I engage the people that I represent. Mr. Speaker, there was no harm at all. We would have had a robust debate. And Mr. Speaker, they say constitutional making is a continuous process. Mr. Speaker, in 2010, we had an opportunity to participate fully in the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, I'm afraid what we are witnessing today is the same narrative that in 2010, the people, and especially the Kalenjin-speaking people, opposed the Constitution. And they were in minority. Mr. Speaker, by then, those who sought to amend the Constitution or to create room for reforms, Mr. Speaker, were facing challenges, Mr. Speaker. And the challenges they faced, they decided that we are going to pursue the constitutional process. Mr. Speaker, this nation will be led by laws. Mr. Speaker, when they brought in that 2010 Constitution, they enabled that devolution to take root. And Mr. Speaker, we are here today courtesy of that devolution. And we overwhelmingly opposed. Mr. Speaker, and the pilot was the same. Now, the same pilot, Mr. Speaker, is piloting another narrative that BBI is not good for us. Mr. Speaker, from the onset, they say those who were involved in the BBI, they made invitation. And Mr. Speaker, we want to take it that even I myself,
the MC of Cabernet, I have a right to develop a bill. And most of, Mr. Speaker, it can be a partisan bill that maybe since in my place in Cabernet is very rocky, then I'm bringing a bill to start maybe a factory, Mr. Speaker. And that bill is going to be a partisan bill that is only meant to cover for my people. And Mr. Speaker, the tradition is I will come and lobby these members to pass the same bill, even though they are not going to benefit as it is. Mr. Speaker, why are we refusing to participate in constitutional moments? Mr. Speaker, I have read this BBI partially. And Mr. Speaker, you must sympathize with us. We are being forced to engage a document in a matter of hours, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, this is a pure creation of your leadership, Mr. Speaker, that a bill of such magnitude, Mr. Speaker, it should be to our knowledge that this is not a Baringo County bill. So even if you pass or you don't pass, others may pass. And what would be the benefit of us passing or refusing to pass in such a short time? Mr. Speaker, I want to say that today, if there's something that you are babysitting that is not good for us, is this rush process of BBI. Mr. Speaker, I've looked at the BBI and I want to go to the contents. And Mr. Speaker, you will allow us time because, Mr. Speaker, you've refused to give us enough time. And Mr. Speaker, we owe it to the people. Mr. Speaker, the people elected us to be able to debate in this house. And Mr. Speaker, the same people have a right to be told properly. And Mr. Speaker, I don't know how we will be able to explain this, but I'll try my level best, Mr. Speaker, to touch on a few things. Mr. Speaker, a colleague here has talked about prioritization. And Mr. Speaker, when we talk about priority, that this is not the right time. Mr. Speaker, we have had challenges. And every now and then there are challenges. There has to be remedies. Mr. Speaker, this BBI did not just come from nowhere. We are all aware that BBI was because of the coming together of the presidency, the government of the day, and the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker. And for that purpose, they came together to address a certain aspect. And Mr. Speaker, that is how this BBI is positioned in front of this House. Mr. Speaker, what I've seen in this BBI, and someone asked, what is there for the people of Baringo? Mr. Speaker, for the first time, BBI is talking about raising the allocation to counties from 15% to 35%. Mr. Speaker, the word to be underlined there is minimum. Mr. Speaker, and I want us to be very clear in this. We've had people saying what is stopping the government as it is from pushing this 15% because it is a minimum. Mr. Speaker, what is in this document, when we say 15% minimum, Mr. Speaker, anything above 15% is in good faith, in good will, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, the Africans that we are have never invested in goodwill and good faith. Mr. Speaker, we are being promised that there will come sober leadership. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you that this 15% minimum, if we raise this 15% minimum to that 5%, it will be by law, Mr. Speaker. it will not be in goodwill or by faith, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, and the people of Baringo should understand why, when we talk about 15% and we move to that 5%, Mr. Speaker, today we are in receipt of almost 7 billion Kenya shillings. Mr. Speaker, if we allow this bill to pass, Mr. Speaker, we will be able to have that 5%. If 15% is 7 billion, then that 5% will be almost 15 billion. Mr. Speaker, we all know what 15 billion can do. Mr. Speaker, and we want to make it clear that I wish this information would have reached the people of Baringo. I'm sure they will have been able to distinguish between the politics of rhetoric, just thumping, and the real facts of BBI. Mr. Speaker, the leadership here have the opportunity. We, the MCS, we have the opportunity to read this. And Mr. Speaker, we would have taken this 15%, that 5%, and explained to the people why it is so important. Mr. Speaker, the other issue that has been put here, and the people should know, is the ward fund. Mr. Speaker, we have been told it is in this bill that we will get 5% by law. Mr. Speaker, as a ward fund. Mr. Speaker, when we came to this house, the ward fund was at 30 million. As we speak, Mr. Speaker, courtesy of goodwill and good faith, it is 10 million. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure next year it will be 0. But this bill here places the law, Mr. Speaker, and it cannot be disputed, Mr. Speaker. So if we want to go with the law and guarantee, Mr. Speaker, some of us here have had the opportunity to exist in this leadership, and we've seen how biased a system can be. Mr. Speaker, today, the skewedness that we are witnessing because of resource allocation is so wide, it is so clear to see. But with a law, we will have been able to solve that issue. Mr. Speaker, someone said that the 15%, we are not able to get 15%. Mr. Speaker, that is a lie. And I want to tell the people of Kenya that we have counties that are able to consume 15% in time. And we have counties like Baringo who are so incapacitated to consume 15%. But what will be the story? The governor will say, pesa haijakuja. Mr. Speaker, we don't receive hard cash. We work fast, we create payment forgers, and we requisition for funds. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, a county like Kakamega, Mr. Speaker, they have been able to build a 6 billion facility of health. A county like Kakamega, they have been able to build a stadium of the world standards. Mr. Speaker, are they consuming their allocation or not? They must be consuming. But why are we not consuming? Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you. And it is good that we all know and we get to tell the people the truth. When Baringo is making a requisition of 50 million because of building kettle dips, building ECD classes, buying a few pipes to friends, Mr. Speaker, we make a requisition of 50 million. Kakamega is making a requisition of 2 billion. The exchequer is saying, pay 50% of that amount. So Baringo for requisition of 50 million, they are being paid 25 million. Kakamega for requisitioning 2 billion, they are being paid 1 billion. That is the fallacy. Mr. Speaker, we should not allow bad leadership. And Mr. Speaker, I am so shocked today. Mr. Speaker, I am your good friend, and I've had an opportunity to discuss some of these discrepancies in a very honest fashion. I'm a good friend who will tell you this is how we are being cooked. And Mr. Speaker, you are allowing a system, a leadership that wants to hide under a convenient political vehicle. And they are just desperate for election, Mr. Speaker. And it is a sad day for Baringo. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that the people of Baringo should accept that 5%, 40%, 50%, but elect the very best leaders. Mr. Speaker, we will die because of mediocrity. Mr. Speaker, I'm painting for the nation of Kalenjin that we are perpetually against constitutionalization. We are against supporting lawful mechanisms. Mr. Speaker, I just want to be very clear. In this BBI, we have seen constituencies. And Mr. Speaker, there was a long debate in this country about representation.
All the members, I'll allow the member to proceed, but you will summarize Honorable Kibet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I can see you are taking the same orders. I don't know what's wrong with you, Mr. Speaker, today. Mr. Speaker, don't allow, we can debate. The law allows us to debate till morning, Mr. Speaker. And you will pass the bill or you will reject, Mr. Speaker. So time to go where? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All the members, you see, the moment you speak, you are taking time. So let the member proceed and finalize. Let the member proceed and finalize, as I say, summarize.
And Mr. Speaker, because of the tension, you should have allowed a secretary. So now I'm distracted. I don't even remember what I was saying. So, Mr. Speaker, can you assist me to remember what I was saying? What was I saying last week? Mr. Speaker, you will forgive me if I rewind. Because if I've forgotten, I might start again. So, Mr. Speaker, my point was the constituencies that are being added. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this. When the BBI delegation or whatever, the committee was formed, everybody was given an opportunity. And Mr. Speaker, I remember when the BBI was moving around counties, the same posturing, Mr. Speaker, we refused to offer ourselves and engage BBI in the right manner. What I've seen, Mr. Speaker, is an engagement from those people who felt like they were disadvantaged on resource allocation based on population. Mr. Speaker, I've seen the conversation that has always existed is how can we compare a constituency that has a population of 90,000 and a constituency, for example, like Mogotio, which has 90,000, and Larry, which probably has 400,000 people. Another document was brought, and people said, how do we address it? Then they said, we are going to do what we call the boundaries review in the old constitution. After doing the review, we will distribute. And if that was to happen, Mr. Speaker, minus the BBI, we are going to lose Mogotio constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm not biased. Though my colleague has worked on me, I'm still able to support him. Mr. Speaker, Mogotio, for having less population, was going to be lost so that other constituencies, so whichever way, they were going to create extra constituencies because what they were facing was population. But Mr. Speaker, the BBI, they said no, we don't touch any constituency. But can we consider those who have big population. And Mr. Speaker, it is very important that I can now see a region that made a serious presentation for the 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. Mr. Speaker, that is the reason why the constituencies were added. Mr. Speaker, us on this other side, we had an opportunity in this altar. We had an opportunity in BBI. We could have proposed our side that we are of the landmass, Mr. Speaker. And the landmass, we would have said 1 man, 1 acre, 1 shilling. And Mr. Speaker, that would have been now in the BBI. Other people fought for the 15% to that 5% because someone like the Prime Minister is so passionate about Ukatusi or devolution. And he fought for this, Mr. Speaker. And we are going to be beneficiaries, all of us, Mr. Speaker. But how I wish we had forced our way and done the necessary thing to participate in this BBI. Mr. Speaker, if we were to go like this, Mr. Speaker, this bill is just a bill. And if we were to listen to the cries of the men, those who have been disadvantaged, Mr. Speaker, nothing stops us, especially the most emotional group who are just focused on the presidency, from creating our own BBI2 and seek their support. Just the same way someone is seeking our support. Mr. Speaker, someone has talked about the divide. Mr. Speaker, today is a sad day. Mr. Speaker, as they say, whoever pays the piper calls the shots. Mr. Speaker, it is clear that we are here not to do what is right. Mr. Speaker,
members, Honorable Kibet, just summarize, yeah? Please, just summarize. And there is no point of interrupting. Let him finalize, just finalize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, you protect me. As you can see, the leadership, they are not in good. They are so. So, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, because I'm saying that there are quite a number of hands, so let's give other people an opportunity.
So,
please.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the engineer knows the rules of this house. Mr. Speaker, if I can be rested, then come back. I have no problem. If they are tired, I can decide to sleep.
Somebody, you've had your chance, Honorable Kibet. Just somebody, have you made your point?
So, Mr. Speaker, sir, my last remarks. And Mr. Speaker, this is a calculated move to just harass the members. I am beseeching, I'm asking our colleagues, just be patient. We debate. We have a lot that, and we've been given time to discuss with the people, we would have come here with a clear mind. But Mr. Speaker, we are here struggling to present, because Mr. Speaker, I'm sure we are unanswered. Mr. Speaker, so that this can be looked at and say that members made a contribution. Mr. Speaker, if you say that we want to rush, Mr. Speaker, and
I've seen Honorable Kibai, but I am urging Honorable Kibai to finalize so that we give to Honorable Kibai. Just hold on. But honestly, to be fair, Honorable Kibet, I think you've had enough time, honestly. Just finalize. Just finalize. You're finalizing. All the members, finalize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, in finalizing this, Mr. Speaker, I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that I want you, Mr. Speaker, to protect, let people talk in low tones, Mr. Speaker. Because if they are talking, Mr. Speaker, as I finalize, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that this BBI bill, Mr. Speaker, has good things for all of us. Mr. Speaker, if we were allowed enough time, and that is what I'm asking, Mr. Speaker.
I thought you're finalizing on Honorable Kibet. Because what is the point of order, Mr. Solomon?
Mr. Speaker, I'm rising on a point of order on standing order number 124, read together with standing order number 136, that the bill before us is procedural and cannot proceed any further and shall be deemed to be forgone until public participation to the people of Baringo is done. And without which we are not going to allow any unprocedural motion to proceed when the people of Baringo brought us here to defend the rule of law. So from now, this motion should be deemed no procedure.
Order. I have already made a ruling on that. Honorable Kibet, I have already finalized Honorable Kibet. I had already given a ruling on that. Please. And then Honorable Kibai.
Mr. Speaker, I think it will be in order that whenever a point of order is raised, you make a ruling because the member has spoken, but you cannot just wish us away.
I already made a ruling and I said I made on the issue of procedural issues. I already done it. Okay. Honorable Kibet, can you finalize? Honorable Kibet, you finalize it. Honorable Sidomoi, members, can you be on your seats? Can you be on your seats? We are unanswered. Order, honorable members, can you be on your seats? I have already given a ruling and I can repeat it. Can be on your seats and I will repeat what I've said. Just be on your seat and I will give you on your seats. On your seats.
That 5%, 40%, 50%, but elect the very best leaders. Mr. Speaker, we will die because of mediocrity. Mr. Speaker, I'm paining for the nation of Kalenjin that we are perpetually against constitutionalization. We are against supporting lawful mechanisms. Mr. Speaker, I just want to be very clear. In this BBI, we have seen constituencies. And Mr. Speaker, there was a long debate in this country about representation.
All the members, allow the member to proceed, but you will summarize, Honorable Kibet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I can see you are taking the same orders. I don't know what's wrong with you, Mr. Speaker, today. Mr. Speaker, don't allow
we can debate. The law allows us to debate till morning, Mr. Speaker, and you will pass the bill or you will reject, Mr. Speaker. So time to go where? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Other members, you see, the moment you speak, you are taking time. So let the member proceed and finalize. Let the member proceed and finalize and say summarize.
And Mr. Speaker, because of the tension, you should have allowed a secretary. So now I'm distracted. I don't even remember what I was saying. So, Mr. Speaker, can you assist me to remember what I was saying? What? What was I saying lastly? Mr. Speaker, you will forgive me if I rewind. Because if I've forgotten, I might start again. So, Mr. Speaker, my point was the constituencies that are being added. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this. When the BBI delegation or whatever, the committee was formed, everybody was given an opportunity. And Mr. Speaker, I remember when the BBI was moving around counties, the same posturing, Mr. Speaker, we refused to offer ourselves and engage BBI in the right manner. What I've seen, Mr. Speaker, is an engagement from those people who felt like they were disadvantaged on resource allocation based on population. Mr. Speaker, I've seen the conversation that has always existed is how can we compare a constituency that has a population of 90,000 and a constituency, for example, like Mogotio, which has 90,000, and Lari, which probably has 400,000 people. And that argument was brought. And people said, how do we address it? Then they said, we are going to do what we call the boundaries review in the old constitution. After doing the review, we will distribute. And if that was to happen, Mr. Speaker, minus the BBI, we are going to lose Mogotio constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm not biased. Though my colleague has worked on me, I'm still able to support him. Mr. Speaker, Mogotio, for having less population, was going to be lost so that other constituencies, so whichever way, they were going to create extra constituencies because what they were basing was population. But Mr. Speaker, the BBI, they said, no, we don't touch any constituency. But can we consider those who have big population? And Mr. Speaker, it is very important that I can now see a region that made a serious presentation for the 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. Mr. Speaker, that is the reason why the constituencies were added. Mr. Speaker, us on this other side, we had an opportunity in this altar. We had an opportunity in BBI. We could have proposed our side that we are of the landmass, Mr. Speaker. And the landmass, we could have said 1 man, 1 acre, 1 shilling. And Mr. Speaker, that would have been now in the BBI. Other people fought for the 15% to that 5% because someone like the Prime Minister is so passionate about Ukatusi or devolution. And he fought for this, Mr. Speaker. And we are going to be beneficiaries, all of us, Mr. Speaker. But how I wish we had forced our way and done the necessary thing to participate in this BBI. Mr. Speaker, if we were to go like this, Mr. Speaker, this bill is just a bill And if we were to listen to the cries of the many, those who have been disadvantaged, Mr. Speaker, nothing stops us, especially the most emotional group who are just focused on the presidency, from creating our own BBI2 and seek their support. Just the same way someone is seeking our support. Mr. Speaker, someone has talked about the divide. Mr. Speaker, today is a sad day. Mr. Speaker, as they say, whoever pays the piper calls the shots. Mr. Speaker, it is clear that we are here not to do what is right. Mr. Speaker,
members, Honorable Kibet, just summarize, yeah? Please, just summarize. And there is no point of interrupting. Let him finalize. Just finalize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, you protect me. As you can see, the leadership, they are not in good today. They are so... So, Mr. Speaker...
Yeah, because I'm saying there are quite a number of hands, so let's give other people an opportunity.
So, please. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the engineer knows the rules of this house. Mr. Speaker, if I can be rested, then come back. I have no problem. If they are tired, I can decide to sit.
Summary, you've had your chance, Honorable Kibet. Just summary, you've made your point.
So, Mr. Speaker, sir, my last remarks, and Mr. Speaker, this is a calculated move to just harass the members. I am beseeching, I'm asking our colleagues, just be patient. We debate. We have a lot that had we been given time to discuss with the people, we would have come here with a clear mind. But Mr. Speaker, we are here struggling to present, because Mr. Speaker, I'm sure we are unanswered. Mr. Speaker, so that this can be looked at and say that members made a contribution. Mr. Speaker, if you say that we want to rush, Mr. Speaker, and
I've seen Honorable Kibai, but I am urging Honorable Kibai to finalize so that we give to Honorable Kibai. Just hold on. But honestly, to be fair, Honorable Kibet, I think you've had enough time. Honestly, just finalize. Just finalize. You're finalizing. All the members finalize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, in finalizing this, Mr. Speaker, I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that I want you, Mr. Speaker, to protect, let people talk in low tones, Mr. Speaker. Because if they are talking, Mr. Speaker, as I finalize, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that this BBI bill, Mr. Speaker, has good things for all of us. Mr. Speaker, if we were allowed enough time, and that is what I'm asking, Mr. Speaker.
I thought you were finalizing on Honorable Kibet. Because what is the point of order, Honorable Solomon?
Mr. Speaker, I'm rising on a point of order on Standing Order number 124, read together with Standing Order number 136 that the bill before us is unprocedural and cannot proceed any further and shall be deemed to be forgone until public participation to the people of Baringo is done, and without which we are not going to allow any unprocedural motion to proceed when the people of Baringo brought us here to defend the rule of law. So from now, this motion should be deemed suspended. No procedure.
Order. I have already made a ruling on that. Honorable Kibet, I have already finalized Honorable Kibet. I had already given a ruling on that. Please. And then Honorable Kibai.
Mr. Speaker, I think it will be in order that whenever a point of order is raised, you make a ruling because the member has spoken, but you cannot just wish us away, Mr. Speaker.
I already made a ruling, and I said I had met on the issue of procedural. On the issue of procedural issues, I had already done it. Honorable Kibet, can we?
Yes.
Can you finalize? Honorable Kibet, you're finalizing. Honorable Selamoi, members, can you be on your seats? Can you be on your seats? We are unanswered. We are unanswered. Order, honorable members, can you be on your seats? I have already given a ruling, and I can repeat it. Can be on your seats, and I will repeat what I've said. Just be on your seat, and I will give you on your seats. On your seats. On your seats. Order. Order. I am going to read to you the procedure. I want to remind you on Standing Order number 106. Order members on 106, if a member commits an act of disorderly conduct, and I want to warn you, members who are on your feet when we are proceeding, that is committing a conduct that is disorderly. And I have already given you the ruling. We cannot go back and forth. The issue of procedure, we have already done it. We cannot go back and forth. It is unanswered. It is unanswered. Can you members, can you resume? We are all unanswered. But we cannot, honestly, Honorable Selamoy. Honorable Selamoy, we can proceed. Honorable Kibet, can I deem that you have finished? Let me finalize. I'll give a ruling right away. Can you sit? I will give a ruling. Honorable Kibet, can you wind up as I give a ruling right away?
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, sir, you can see how this thing can degenerate into anarchy so soon. When a member rises on a point of order, Mr. Speaker, why don't you give the ruling before you proceed? And then we continue because we are so intimidated.
I will give a ruling right away.
Yes.
And that's why I wanted you to finalize. Then I come to Honorable Selemois. Honorable Selemois, that was 126 and 124. I have it now. 120, 120, 124 and 136. I already have 124 and 126, and I'll give a ruling right away. Let Honorable Kipet summarize. I deem that you have summarized his contribution. Do you support or you don't, so that you go unanswered before I come to Honorable Solomon?
Speaker, you have just said you want to make a ruling on what he raised. And I'm a person of interest to his...
I'll make a ruling right away.
Mr. Speaker, why don't you make the ruling? And then I proceed, Mr. Speaker. It is, I'm so interested with what he has put it across.
Take your seat, take your seat. Honorable members, we have been referred to Standing Orders 124. And on 124, it is talking about the heading, and I want you to listen. 124. What? I want to give Honorable Salamoy your seats. 124. 1. A bill having been read the first time shall stand committed to the sectoral committee without question put. That is, hold it there. And then 126. 126, listen. We also know these things, honorable members. Let's read. 126. On 124, you're talking about 136. One 136 talks about withdrawal of bills. That is the heading. It talks about one, either before the commencement of business or on the order of the day for any stage of the bill being read, the member in charge of the bill may without notice claim to withdraw a bill. So now I want to make it very clearly. This is bill making process. What you've just read, 124, 126, up to 136. All that is about bill making process. Being read, the first reading, second reading. But this motion is not a bill making motion. This is not the bill of Baringo County Assembly. What Baringo County Assembly is doing is making a decision and take a vote whether they approve it or not. So it is now clear and we proceed. Honorable Kibet, finalize. Honorable Kibet, you're finishing. You're finishing, honestly. Honorable Parquet, there's information.
Speaker, sir,
Honorable Parquet.
I need the information. I need the information.
I wanted to hear that Honorable Kibet needs that information.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Being a senior member of this House, Mr. Speaker, sir, I pity the Speaker for today, Mr. Speaker, sir, because what we are supposed to read to be debating this House, we are just debating about the bill, but we are supposed to debate the report from the committee, the table here. The bill should be an annex of the report, but we are not getting that report from the committee. The chairman alluded that they deliberated in the committee stage. The report, where is the report, Mr. Speaker, sir? Can you challenge me, Mr. Speaker, sir? Challenge me, because I need a report challenge me that we are discussing a report. Challenge me. Because we want a report. Yeah. Just challenge me, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Kibet, can you finalize? Honestly, then we'll give the Armenian people to contribute. There are many. We have already talked about that, Honorable Parquet. We've talked about that, and I talked about the House Business Committee. Can we proceed? Yes, we have already ruled that, honestly. Let's proceed. The beauty about all these things is that we are going on record. We are going on record. Everything we say is on record. So that's the beauty about it. Honorable Kibai, to finalize, then we can give Honorable Kibai. You're saying you're sick. Honorable Kibai, can you finalize, please?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. There is too much noise, Mr. Speaker. Can you listen to what they are saying?
Honestly, members, I think, let me make myself, order, Honorable Kibet. Let me make myself clear. This issue of procedural issue came in from the word go. And I have made a ruling that this matter went to public participation. Sorry, this matter went to House Business, sorry, I meant House Business Committee. It went to House Business Committee, and the House Business Committee, and the members are not few, they were there and they made a decision. So let us proceed to all these things. All these matters are unanswered. We have a record, and now we cannot debate back and forth. Honestly, we cannot, because we still have time, and we can proceed. You know, we will proceed even after 6:30. We'll still proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yes,
as you said, the committee, the House Business Committee, is not mandated to tackle a bill which was supposed to be brought by the Legal Justice Committee on Tuesday, on 9. You tabled the report to Legal Committee. So the Legal Committee should have come with a report, not to the House Committee, because the House Committee only gives time. So, unallocated time. So, the House Business Committee does not arise here, Mr. Speaker, sir. And it is just on Tuesday.
What is the information on Honorable Kemasop?
Yes, I'm not interested, Mr. Speaker. I'm not interested, Mr. Speaker. I'm not interested. Which house?
Honorable Kemasop, proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's important to inform the House as follows. That if you sincerely do not believe in a process, you don't participate in it. The House business, the information, the House business, Mr. Speaker, sat today. And it voted 5 versus 9. 5 versus 9. They had an opportunity to question the procedure. What we have, Mr. Speaker, is a motion. And this motion, Mr. Speaker, is not a different Speaker.
I've seen you, Honorable Francis.
Mr. Speaker, unanswered.
I'm giving you right.
The members who are debating it have already rendered their opinion on this matter. And not take us back. And they rendered their opinion, Mr. Speaker, on the basis of your ruling. And Mr. Speaker, you have ruled. You can go to court for interpretation. Mr. Speaker, further information. My final information, Mr. Speaker, is that
I'll give you, Francis. I'm giving you.
I have brought 2 motions in this House, Mr. Speaker, which the notice was given the same day and approved the same day.
Mr. Speaker, what we have is a motion. We are voting for a motion.
It's okay. It's okay.
And it is a motion just like any other motion.
Honorable Francisca.
And that is the information I want to provide.
Honorable Francisca. Yes, Francisca Chebret.
Honorable Speaker, I'm so disturbed today. I'm on a point of concern, Honorable Speaker. And I think Honorable Chepsongal is not whipping me while I'm on the mic.
Honorable Chepsongal, let's listen to Honorable Francisca Chebret.
Honorable Speaker, I'm so disturbed today, being a member of Rules and Procedures Committee, to note that a member like Honorable Kimosop will come here and tell us house business sat this morning. The same house business sat on Tuesday, and they brought and laid the paper here. And the Rules and Procedures Committee indicate clearly that when a paper has been laid, it should follow the right procedure. The same was not stopped, Honorable Speaker. You were seated on the same seat, Honorable Speaker, and you directed that the same paper be laid and be given to Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the same house business is under a rule just like any other committee. And other committees normally go outside to seek for the reports and go maybe for public participation and go and write a report. And that is why we are saying we want fairness. If Justice and Legal Affairs Committee is not able to give us justice today, then we'll be told, why do we have a committee that is dealing with rules and procedures in this house when we cannot follow the same rules and procedures, Honorable Speaker?
Honorable members, I want to, and very soon, I have already read the standing orders. This is a house of rules and procedures. When the speaker has made a ruling, that is what it is in there. It's okay, it's a ruling. It's a ruling. So it's a ruling, and I've talked about that issue of procedure. I've already made a ruling. And you know, the standing orders are very clear. And I'm going to invoke them right away if you people do not obey. Honorable Kibet finalize, then we give to Honorable Kibai. Yes. Honorable Kibai, we'll give to other people. There are many people.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. It is Mr. Speaker, sir, it is only that it is fair that we debate this soberly. And Mr. Speaker, as we say, the only document that is in my possession right now is just what the IBC sent us to this house. Mr. Speaker, this house has not imputed anything. They have not done the work they are supposed to do. Mr. Speaker, it is so cheap, it is so unfair that a chairman who is mandated. Mr. Speaker, before you are given to be a chairman, the law puts in place even an allowance for being a chairman. Mr. Speaker, this chairman today has come here with the same papers that were sent from the IBC to us. He has not done his job. He has no report. Mr. Speaker, I want to challenge and I want you to ask the committee to give us a report. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you, we said that we are not going to allow this business here, and we are going to take serious involvement. Mr. Speaker, this thing, you seem to be taking it lightly, but we want to tell you, as even if we are few, we will make sure that there is action. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, we want to be told, I'm requesting that the chairman, you know, Mr. Speaker, it would have been fair if as a representative, you are served with a report. Then the report states clearly that the committee went to do the public participation. They do the report writing, and they report to this house, Mr. Speaker. Today, I'm debating papers laid in this house, Mr. Speaker. We are debating papers laid from IBC without our input. Mr. Speaker, if it is possible, and we still have a chance to redeem ourselves and allow a prudent debate. Mr. Speaker, the area that you are in to just pass or to just shoot down this bill, I know I've heard, Mr. Speaker, someone was talking about the information I have. I also have an information that these members, they are so eager to surprise that Baringo must be the first county to shoot down this bill. Mr. Speaker, the people of Baringo needed a chance.
It's okay. Yeah, I think you've made your point. Honestly,
I'm finishing.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'm finishing.
You made your point. You made your point. There are many, and I'll give everybody.
So, Mr. Speaker,
yes.
In finalizing, I want to say that I support this bill, and I request that you defer or adjourn until there's nothing wrong, Mr. Speaker. The law allows you. You can still rule that we go for public participation. In the spirit of that togetherness, you can still rule, Mr. Speaker, and allow more information and more debate on this bill. Mr. Speaker, don't be in a rush. That is my call, rallying call. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Kibai. Now, can you agree, members, that I will allow as many as possible, but let's make it short.
Mr. Speaker, I agree with you. I will. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I agree with you. You are our chair. You are our speaker, and we must adhere to the rules and regulations of this house. Mr. Speaker, the bill before us here today is a bill that concerns the Constitution of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, members are consulting in high tones.
Members, please consult in low tones. Proceed, Honorable Kibai.
Mr. Speaker, are saying that the bill before us is a constitutional amendment bill. It is a bill that, Mr. Speaker, that has been going round, as has been alluded by the members. Mr. Speaker, as I contribute my points, Mr. Speaker, I'll put my allegiance to God and the people of Baringo. I'll speak my mind, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if anything, I'm a nominated member of this House. If anything, Mr. Speaker, I'm not an elected member. If anything happens, Mr. Speaker, that is why I've said that I'll leave myself and my life to God and the people of Baringo. Mr. Speaker, during public participation, when BBI starts on a 9 agenda, those who were nominated and gazetted by the President of the Republic of Kenya came to Baringo for public participation. And that is true. I attended the meeting in Rift Hills Hotel. Mr. Speaker, I come from a minority group in Baringo, called Torres. In Baringo, we have two main minority groups, the Chams and the Ndorois, in Baringo South. So, Speaker, we presented our issues, including being given a constituency or considered. Mr. Speaker, in our areas of Baringo South, Baringo North, and Tiati, we are experiencing a security situation. We are being on the headlines every day. Mr. Speaker, we presented to the BBI team. We presented, because if you see the geographical condition of Tiati, for example, if you see the geographical condition of Baringo North and Baringo South, we presented our issues that we need an administrative unit to be divided so that we can have more government officers in various locations of our area. We need sub-locations, we need location, we need some divisions. So that, Mr. Speaker, because why I talk about geographical condition is because if you see one location, you can go one location on 1 month going around. Will you know the bandits? You will not know. We presented our issues. That is why, Mr. Speaker, I say that I listen to the people of Baringo. We see the dire situations of insecurity in Baringo. We were not listened. We were not listened. We say we need administrative units. We need more government officers. We need chiefs. We need assistant chiefs in our various sub-locations. So, Speaker, that is why I say that I'll speak my mind. So, Speaker, I have said the public participation was done by the PBI team. And I stop at that on that. On the national issues, Mr. Speaker, we had some leaders saying that the reason why BBI is there, it is a constitutional bill. The reason why BBI bill has been brought in is to stop the people from the Luo Nyanza from demonstrating. So, Speaker, we will be setting a very wrong precedent to this country. We will be sending and I think leaders of this country will bear me witness that if today you will demonstrate, then tomorrow you are told, no, let's sideline others, then we look at your issues. Let's look at these issues at one level. So, Speaker, I want today, because I didn't want to take time, because even if I take 1 hour, I'll be presenting the same issues. I'll be repeating myself. Mr. Speaker, I want to be categorical here. I'm a man with steel balls. And we cannot be intimidated. I cannot betray the people of Baringo. I cannot betray my manhood and the people of Baringo. We have listened to the people of Baringo and Kenya. So, Speaker, that is why I say that I will listen to the people of Baringo. And Mr. Speaker, I have listened to them. I have listened to the people of Kenya. And Mr. Speaker, it is sure that the people of this republic and the people of Baringo doesn't want this constitutional amendment at this moment. Mr. Speaker, in 2005, we had a constitutional amendment. There were no conditions. There were no intimidations. People were peaceful. In 2010, we had a constitutional amendment. So, Speaker, as I quote, inasemekana kwamba kizuri kibaya chajitembeza, kizuri chajiuza. So, Speaker, I will leave at that. I leave myself to God and the people of Baringo. Thank you so much.
Let's proceed. I think on the yes, I have seen Mheshimiwa Betty. I have seen your hand, Mheshimiwa Ngotie, for a long time. Mheshimiwa Ngotie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity to contribute on this motion. And first, I would like to acknowledge my brother, Honorable Kibet, that he will go in history in this honorable house to have contributed for 1 hour using his brains. And he really, and I think he likes football, because I've seen in football, when you are ahead, you can use tactics of delaying tactics, passing the ball here and there. And that's what he did. And I congratulate you, my brother, for having that knowledge to hold us for 1 hour listening to you here. Thank you, and I salute you. Mr. Speaker, sir, on contributing this motion, first I would like to say I oppose. I oppose this motion because of the following reasons, and I will not take long. One, recently, CS Wamalwa, Minister of Devolution, was on record that at the moment we are not getting even 15%, but we are getting up to 28% of the total revenue to the counties. And if it is like that, what is this thing of 35%? Because when this thing passes, they will say you've been getting 28%, so plus the CDF and so forth, you are getting even 40, not 35%. So this thing of 35%, today in today's papers, Mr. Speaker, sir, there is an article that the counties are going to benefit above what they are getting, 407 million. They didn't need this bill to get that money. And I wonder why now they are bringing this, that we will get an increment if we pass this motion, this bill. Mr. Speaker, sir, the 5% that the ward fund that we're being told that we will be benefiting is below what we are getting at the moment. I want to say that at the moment, we were getting about that, we had gone to 30 million per ward. If we pass this one, we will be getting about 5 million per ward to go and do some development in our wards. So there is nothing actually to celebrate about this, that we are getting more. The 5% of what, if you calculate that 5%, is about 8 million. So we've been enjoying without this thing of BBI. Mr. Speaker, sir, this Building Bridges initiative is supposed to build bridges, I don't know from where, and it is supposed to unite all of us as Kenyans. The same thing cannot unite the two brothers. You know the two brothers, who are the two brothers, and I don't mean the two brothers of now, I mean the real two brothers we know of. They cannot unite them. So if they cannot unite the two, how can they unite the 45 million of Kenyans which we have at the moment? Mr. Speaker, sir, I've heard my colleagues saying that we will control 60 million. And that we should celebrate that we are controlling 60 million. I would rather that we continue with 20 million being controlled by Mwananchi, but not MCA. Because when we get 20 million, we take to the Mwananchi and they decide on which projects they need, and it is allocated as per need of Mwananchi. But if we are going to control 60 million, then I think there is something. If we can celebrate that we are going to control 60 million, then that means there is corruption inside there. So I would rather that we go with the 20 million that Mwananchi will always contribute in public participation. Mr. Speaker, sir, the last one, the delegation from Ravine Ward. have sent me with clear message. That is the majority. I don't say that there are no people who are not who are supporting, but the majority, the delegation from Ravine Ward, clear instruction that I vote no. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think I want to thank God because I'm part of the team who are able to stand and debate about the BBI, which will be historical in just a few months. First, I stand fully support the BBI document, even if I am a member of Justice Committee. I want to be on record, I'm a member of Justice Committee. The paper was laid on Tuesday, and it never reached any committee because on yesterday, all members of Jubilee was summoned, and there was no, and it happens that my chair is also a member of Jubilee, and they were not there yesterday. I'm also aware that even the same document, we do not even call for one meeting as a Justice Committee. So today what we expected to debate here was a report that us, the Justice Committee, would have gone for public participation. And I'm not upset because these MCAs, members, honorable members here, they are saying they are here on behalf of the people and that they had some delegation. But it is not official as what is required by the law, that we hold a public participation. Let the people of Baringo talk their views, because I don't think there will be any other moment that they will get to talk about the views of this BBI. Whether they like it, whether they don't like it, or whether they like it, it would have been prudent for them to be given this moment to debate and via the views. Even if they don't like, why the rush? The question is, why the urgency? Why the rush? If it is going to be voted no, then it will be voted no. If it's going to be yes, it is yes. But then denying a local mwananchi and talking on their behalf that you have heard from them, that is very immoral. Because you were voted for to go and listen to the people, not conclude for them. Through something anchored by the Constitution called public participation. But what we are having today is honorable members in rush to just satisfy their egos and be the first people to reject the BBI, of which it's wrong. I mean, seriously. If you believe that you have the no vote, you would have allowed the people of Baringo the chance to meet and talk about this document. Because the next time they will hear about this document is through political rallies, of which will not have given their sufficient views. Nobody will ever hear what they have to say of this BI document, courtesy of our administration, now the Speaker and the Clerk. You have denied, I want to go on record, you have denied the people of Baringo County a chance to give their views on this document. Whether the people of Baringo liked it or not, we have not heard. What we have here are members going to give their views and the one for their families. Even me here, I have not had the chance to go around and ask people what they think about. The views we are going to vote here is personal views and that of our husbands and wives. So I want, of course, husband and wife is not a vulgar language and you don't love your wives. And anyway, today, before I start to speak, in the newspaper today, I have seen 5 counties that have advertised the public participation. That is Meru County, Embu County, Nakuru County, and even Baringo, there is an advert. But surprisingly, it's a public participation to go and ask the people before naming our streets and lands after the famous people or the heroes of Baringo. That is what we have in the and it was something that was passed here. And I thank people, but apparently that one was put, and this one is a matter of urgency, but we did not have time to let the people of Baringo speak. It is very sad, and this administration, led by my speaker, we will remember this injustice that you've led with the people of Baringo and talked on their behalf without asking them to talk. Let me talk about this document. As Honorable Ngotier Ravin has said, that 5%, and the one we have right now that Honorable Eugene Wamalwa said the other day about 28%, we are at 28%. What this BBI is addressing in short is the minimum that will be going to the county. The minimum will be that 5%. It will rise from the minimum of 15% to a minimum of that 5%, meaning that we will not be having, any county will not be receiving money below that 5%, of which it's a plus. If you put a law that it is a minimum of 15, you can get 15, you can get 28, you can get 100. But then again, of course, we cannot operate in goodwill. So this BBI, money to Baringo at minimum of that 5% of the revenue. So you can add, you can do, if 15% we are getting around 4.8 billion, what if you have that 5% as a minimum? I mean, this is one of the advantages of BBI. The second one, this BBI is going to protect Mogote constituency from being scrapped. You remember, every 10 years in our country, we always have census, so that it informs the boundary review and all that. And in the census that we did on 2019, it showed that Mogote was not meeting the threshold to become a constituency, but it was supposed to be scrapped. So apart from Baringo not getting an additional constituency, we are here on record that Mogotio is going to be protected and it will remain a constituency. That is what is in the BBI. Another one is about the 5%, the money ward fund. The beauty about that money is it will operate in like a CDF, the way CDF is being operated. It's not like what we have right now, where you have 25 million in paper, but everything it is done by the county government. And if it is slow, as per now, you know what is happening even in our county. If the county government is a slow county government, there is no benefit you will get from that, because the projects might be even rolled over more than 5 years, and you might even end up not doing anything with the same money. So I think that is another advantageous. Another thing that is being upholded by these BBI is the gender. I want to applaud, because gender, they have given women a possibility and a good chance in this to lead in this BBI. Another one is help. I think I have not heard anyone talking about help, maybe because some may have not benefited by it, but I know my friend Honorable Lemlem knows about help because we benefited. You can imagine the grace period. Most of the hustlers and most of the comrades who have been in the university, they know the feeling when all help officials come to your house or look for you up to your village to tell you to pay this amount, and they start charging the interest immediately. So this grace period is going to help, especially the youth. Of course, and there is a youth commission, of which I'm a chair of youth, and you know the benefits that comes with it. So, and another one is the one for the government, the constitution of the way the government is going to be constituted. We know the problem of this country, and the problem of this country is the winner takes it all. And in a situation of a winner takes it all, we know how many times we have gone back to a serious political turmoil in this country. This BBI, and it was the spirit that built the BBI report, that we want, after every election, Kenya moves on. We don't go back to where we have been, to 2007, 2008 post-election. And I want to just dissect that in this BBI, there will be a president, deputy president, the prime ministers, and all that. And the office of the leader of the opposition. I think that is the most gracious thing in this BBI, that you can lose and still hold office and still get funded so that you don't become frustrated and frustrate the whole country. So I think that is the major thing that we should be seeing, because you can imagine if we had such a thing, such an arrangement in 2007, 2008, there would never be a bloodshed. We would have same arrangement in 2013, 2014. Someone would just lose and accept that, fine, I'm having this desk here and I'm going to operate and oversee the government with the same resources, because now this leader of opposition will have his office, he can employ his people, and he will be funded by the government. I think that is the beauty of this BBI, and I think it is going to sort and solve the issue of post-election violence. Because for once in our lives, we will not be having someone who wants to swear himself as a president because he feels that he won and he was denied. For once, we will have someone who will actually start. And by the way, you can be a leader of opposition, and if by chance you have more MPs, you will have the opportunity to give, you can have the opportunity to be elected as a prime minister. But then again, this says if you choose to be a prime minister, what happens to you? Opposition. So that is the real BBI. And what I'm getting from this report, Honorable Speaker, is most members have not read the document. We are just here to pass because it is a populist. It's easy to just reject without knowing. I think that's a populist approach. For me, I think you would do a lot of justice to the people of Baringo if we could just decide to adjourn the putting of the question and going back to do public participation. Because you people have numbers, that is what you believe. Let us go to the public. The public tells us no, even me, myself, we will come here and we will talk about it. And I'm in Justice Committee. And I'll be listening to the views of the people. And we are going to write the report according to the views of the people. Let the people of Baringo be the ones to decide. Let us not hurry up. Because let me tell you, this thing is a sharp blade knife. It cuts both sides. Nobody is safe. We might decide right now to just say we are rejecting, fine. But then again, you go to and people will tell you, why were we not allowed to talk or participate on this BBI report? I think the most honorable thing, without emotions, without anything, without parties, is allowing Justice Committee. And let us use reason. Allowing Justice Committee, which I am a member, and of course I'll be there. We are going to read with the people. The way public participation is being done, we read to the people. You give us 3 days, we go to Naivasha or Nakuru. We write a report. We table in this house, even if it is Thursday or Friday, we do it in Tuesday next week. We table a report. You have the same numbers. If you already made up your mind, you still vote the same vote. I don't see why we should hurry up and jump the gun before even we start. I believe in fairness, and I believe in justice. I believe even people of Baringo, even people outside there, they should be given a chance to be heard. Because once this document is completed here, these people never have a chance. The next chance they will get in touch will be political rallies. And in political rallies, you are politicians. You know what happens in political rallies. Political rallies, it is just 1 minute you say, you talk, but you don't even talk about the document and you go. I think we are just denying these people of Baringo a great chance of expressing their opinion and feeling, and even interacting with them to know how they are feeling. Because we might be passing and feeling that they are rejecting, and we don't know what they are saying. So, Speaker, what I'm requesting you, and I think it will be very prudent, because let me tell you, this house is a house of politicians, and it is a house full of people also who have ambitions. And of course, we might decide to take a chance of our lives and take advantage of the people of Baringo because of our political ambitions. I think it would be very prudent so that next time on Tuesday, people have numbers. I think people have already made up their mind. Nothing will change, even in Tuesday, even in Friday next week, nothing will change. Let us give a chance to the people of Baringo to hear their views, so that next time we are here, there will be no emotions. We will know what the people are saying. Kanu people will not be shouting here, and Jubilee we will know the position of the county of Baringo, whether these people want this thing or not. And I think that is the only prudent thing I'm asking, Honorable Speaker. Please consider that before you put questions. Let us not be populists. Let us be idealists. Thank you.
this side, yes, Honorable Parsalach.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also rise to give my views this bill. And Mr. Speaker, sir, let me start by saying that this is a sad day for me because we've taken a very long time arguing instead of reasoning. And Mr. Speaker, sir, I think when the Punguza Msigo bill was here, we had few members with dissenting views, and they articulated their views correctly. Unlike today, Mr. Speaker, sir, when a lot of lamentation, a lot of procedures, and Mr. Speaker, if I recall very well, even the Punguza Msigo bill did not go through public participation. Even the Punguza bill never had a report from the Justice and Legal Committee. And I'm really astonished that today we are just discussing a document like the one we had, and we are getting some funny stories. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me start by taking members to Article 107 in this bill. Leader of official opposition. It says there shall be a leader of official opposition in the National Assembly. The leader of official opposition shall be the person who received the second greatest number of votes in a presidential election. Then if you go to 4A, honorable members, or honorable speaker, it says a person shall not assume the office of the leader of official opposition if the prime minister is appointed from the person's political party or coalition of parties. What an injustice. What will prevent the president who has won, or whoever who has won the election, from appointing somebody to be the prime minister within that party or coalition, so that his number two, who receives the highest votes, will be disqualified? Nothing. So this is not building bridges initiative. It is breaking bridges initiative. Mr. Speaker, another issue. Mr. Speaker, sir, Kenyan Constitution 2010 is a heavily borrowed document. And it was even...
And when we have the functions of the county government, money will follow the function. To the second point, Mr. Speaker, when you read about what the BBI is into the nitty-gritty, because if you read this bill, you will not understand it. You have to have that oomph and the synthesis that has been done by the BBI report. Mr. Speaker, they are talking about skin in the game. The skin in the game in the BBI is talking about when you are given that opportunity, for example, to be the Cabinet Secretary of Health or be the Cabinet Secretary of Education, you don't take your children out of this country. They use the same system that the children of the poor people of Kenya and the people of Kenya are using. They are saying that health. You may say hustler, I don't know. You may say the health factor. We always have our medical cards. The rich class, the rich class are always taking their children to medical covers where they are covered. But the common mwananchi is going to the public hospitals. Now, the skin in the game is saying we all go to the same facility as the people we are representing. And I think with that, BBI is sorting a lot of issues. That is where I will not be having classism and dynasty versus hustler. We will be having level playing field. Yes. The other thing, I will stand, because no woman has talked about the representation of women. And it will be bad if we go out, if we don't talk about the women. women never been given the level playing field to go for politics, to go for elective seats. But with BBI, women are being given the level playing field, not forgetting the youth and the PWD. And the last one, Mr. Speaker, as I wind up, we've had here, when we was talking, we've had an issue with public participation. And BBI is enshrining public participation, and they are recommending an establishment of public participation rapporteur. And public participation rapporteur, they will be transparent and they will offer effectiveness, so that we will not be having, because honestly, when we talk about public participation, it is never effective. It is never transparent. So the Office of the Public Participation Rapporteur will be conducting public participation on behalf of the state and the non-state, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, as I wind up, I call upon my honorable members to still go through these documents. Let us educate the people. Go to the nitty-gritty, read it properly, Mr. Speaker, so that we don't rush something that will benefit the people of Baringo whom we are representing. I support Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. State the mover.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for giving me this last chance. I also want to thank all the members, those who contributed in support or who shut it down. I want to thank you so much. Finally, I want to request that by the end of this session today,
Order. What is it, Honorable?
by the end of
Order. Honorable Betty, what is the point of order?
Honorable Speaker, I still stand on my point of order of number 2, 52, section 2. That the Speaker, on the request of member, might defer the putting of the question to the following day, in which case the Speaker shall respond and nominate a time shall be put. And you know my reasons is, we have discussed here, and all of us have given out as those who are for pro this, and we are saying this thing did not go for public participation, and we are requesting that you rule that this thing goes to public participation first, so that we can debate it after that. That is my request, and I think, Speaker, you should take a stand and become neutral in this house. No, I can request in this point of order many times I want.
Let Honorable Betty proceed. Order.
These people are harassing me. It's like they have monopoly of this house.
Order. Let Honorable Betty finish.
Mr. Speaker, what I'm requesting, and you have to listen, even the minority have their say. As much as the majority can have their way, they can postpone their way, and so that we do what is just in this section. And Mr. Speaker, I don't know, you are supposed to be neutral, and you are not doing it. And we are seeing from the comfort of our seats that you are not neutral. And Julia, you can come and speak. You don't need to be on the mat.
Order.
Honorable Speaker, protect me. I'm being abused, and you are sitting from the comfort of your seat, and you cannot.
Order. Honorable Betty, finalize your request.
So my request, and I want you to rule on that right now, that we have talked about public participation. There was no reportable in this house. What do we do? Do we postpone until Tuesday so that we do the public participation over the weekend? Or you want to use thorax to make sure this thing is rejected? We want to know that.
Thank you very much, members. That request by Honorable Betty had already been made. She already made that request, and I already made a ruling. So proceed, Honorable Oscar.
Speaker, sir, I thank everybody and I rest my case.
Now, honorable members, I now wish to put the question. It's okay. How many? I want to see how many are on their feet. How many are on their feet for division? How many are on their feet for division? Because the standing orders required more than 5. Now, Sergeant at Arms, can the division bell go? For 5 minutes, the division bell, and after that we close the doors.
This is the moment.
Order. Majority Leader, keep be silent. The standing orders are that you are silent. You need to take divisions. Take divisions. Okay, order members. Order. Take divisions, and the bar be drawn. That is now the door, and there is no movement out and inside. Order, Honorable Kimosop. You will get the tellers. The nay side will get a teller. The I side will get a teller. And we've done this before. We've done this before.
I am majority. I'm here. Yes, we nominate majority.
On the nay side, on the I side. Honorable Parge, can you take your seat here with a pen and paper? Who is on the other side? Take your seat. Okay, your pen and paper. Honorable Chief Songol, you have a pen and paper because you need to record. You need to record the clerk. Clerk, can we become the clerk? You have the list, and all the members. The standing orders are very clear that the names will go down in alphabetical order. And when you are called, you respond, stand up, respond. If you support, you say, I vote yes. If you do not support, you say, I vote no. If you want to abstain, you say, I abstain. So in that order, the clerk will call the names from the alphabetical order. And the rest of the members, please be calm. So to enable the tellers to hear and follow. Clerk, proceed.
Honorable Ameja Kapcheko Selamoi.
I vote yes.
You are not on answer. Get the mic. Get the mic. Get the mic. Well, second at times you'll just be passing the mic to yes.
This is an procedural vote, and I vote yes.
Thank you very much. Proceed next, clerk.
Honorable Benjamin Koech.
I vote no.
Honorable Betty Brichogo.
for the sake of the government of Kenya. And this document is the document of the government which I serve. Na kazi ni kazi na nimepewa kazi na serikali. I vote yes.
Honorable Caroline Chebichi Kesei.
I vote yes.
Honorable Charles K.A. Chebot.
I vote no.
Honorable Charles Kimitei Bowen.
I vote for him? No.
That is absent. Proceed.
Honorable Chepsongol Ruben Chirchir.
I vote no.
Honorable Cornelius Cheruiyot Kurui.
I vote no.
Honorable Diana Siriti.
I vote yes.
Honorable Elizabeth Cherotich Kipsang.
I vote no.
A big one. Honorable Agnes Kibet Tarus. I vote yes. Honorable Eunice Kakerel Chevraine.
I vote no.
Honorable Francis Muranye Kibai.
For the interest of youth of Baringo, I vote no.
Honorable Francisca Chepkuto Cherutich.
I vote no.
Honorable Francisca Chepsergon Cheburet.
Definitely yes.
Honorable Jacob Kiprotich Cheboiwo.
Honorable Jacob Kiprotich Cheboiwo, member of Sanana Ward, the Deputy Speaker of Baringo County Assembly. I vote no.
Honorable Jennifer Abon Kipto.
In behalf of Kapropita Ward, as a member, I vote no.
Honorable Cheruto Kiptala.
I vote no.
Honorable Joel Chesang Kipcho.
I vote no.
Honorable John Chongwo Aegwo.
I, Aingwa John Jongwo, alias Reed, vote no.
Honorable John Tarus Lagat.
On behalf of the people of Sacho, I.
Honorable Julia Kandia.
On behalf of the women of Baringo and the marginalized people of Baringo, I vote no.
Honorable Julius Kimutai Motie.
I, Julius Kimutai Chichim Motie, I vote no.
Honorable Lawi Kipchumba Talam.
On behalf of people of Lembusquin and the majority of Baringo people, I vote a big no.
Honorable Lotella Jackfan Nelson.
For the sake of devolution, to strengthen it, for the sake of resources coming to counties, and for the sake of constitutional progress, I need to stand with the rest of the Kenyans to move forward, to vote for yes. I, Nelson Lotella from Silale Ward.
Honorable Makal Loluka Solomon.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Makal, I'm called Solomon Loluka Makal, and I want to be on record and to be with other Kenyans. I vote yes.
Honorable Maria Cheboriot Losile.
Yes, for the sake of people of Uloyamurok, I vote yes.
Honorable Maureen Chepkosgei Chirus. Honorable Musa Kipkurui Cheriot.
On behalf of people of Koipatek Ward and the rest of people of Baringo, I vote a big no. I vote no.
Honorable Nicholas Kipruto Kimosop.
Aware, Mr. Speaker, that we are in a national crisis and that referendum is not a priority and it has to be stopped. On behalf of the people of Mochongoi Ward, I, Kipruto Kimosop, vote no.
Honorable Nixon Lemlem.
I, Nixon Lemlem, on behalf of the people of Marigat, I vote no.
Honorable Olebarsalai Joseph Rangesi.
I, Honorable Joseph Leparsalaj, on behalf of the people of James Ward, I vote no.
Honorable Parkei Renson Kiole.
I, Parkei Kiole Renson, engineer, for the development of my people of Mukutani Ward, for the increment of resources from 15% to 35%, for the people of Baringo youth to get employment, I say yes.
Honorable Paul Kipkorir Serem.
I, Paul Serem, on behalf of beloved people of Lembus Pergera, I vote no.
Honorable Paul Kipsang Kibarar.
I, Paul Kipsang Kibarar, on behalf of the people of Emily, for people of Emily to get fair good of their resources and taxpayers, for this PPI to fall, I vote no.
Honorable Peter Kipkoech Kebut.
Okay, I, Peter Kebut, on behalf of the people of Ewolel Chepchep, I vote big no.
Honorable Purity Talam.
I, Honorable Purity Chepkemoi Talam, I vote no.
Honorable Richard Barwecho Rono.
I, Richard Rono, on behalf of the great people of Arweza, I vote no.
Honorable Richard R. Cheserem.
On behalf of the people of Simon Soy and for justice to prevail in Kenya, I vote no.
Honorable Sam Laurien Limo.
Hold on. We have to be clear on that. We have to clear. He's absent, and the other one was absent. There are people who are absent, and those no. That's not how we vote. If he's not present, the standing orders are very clear: present and voting. So we record that as absent. Can you proceed?
Honorable Safina Chelagat.
I vote no.
Honorable Shadrach Mailuk Akeno. Honorable Silas Kikoskei Tochim.
I, Silas Kikoskei Tochim, on behalf of the people of Tenges and the Hustler Nation at large, I vote no.
Honorable Tuit Loreria Daniel.
Mimi Mheshimiwa Daniel Tuit Loreria, kwa niaba ya watu wangu wa Riko na kwa hoja hii naunga mkono kwa kusema ndio. Asante.
Honorable Commissioner, you know what you have done. Proceed.
Lastly, Honorable Valerie Chepkoskei Ngeny.
Valerie Mark absent. Is that all? Now, as per the procedure, before we get the votes, I need to put the question so that now we can see. Now, I need to put the question so that now we can see. Now, can I get from the detailers? Will as many, where is the numbers? Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Where's the teller? Where's the teller? The yes are. The yes are. The no are. The no. The no are 30. The no. Order members, this house stands adjourned until next week. Police inatuweka tear gas. Police inatuweka tear gas.
The bogus askaris na wafuko wanatuletea tear gas. Uzuri tulikuwa tumemaliza.
Mheshimiwa uko live, endelea, uko live.
I'm Silas Tochim. Kelele nini mtatufanyia hapa? Ni mambo ambayo haikubaliki. We know it is Wafula. Anatuletea tear gas. But we thank God because we finished.
What's the problem, Mheshimiwa? What's happening, Mheshimiwa? What's happening, Mheshimiwa?
Mheshimiwa, what is happening?
What's happening, Mheshimiwa?
The
We just finished.
has not been communicated.
It was finished.
No, where?
And why was that brought?
Why was the tear gas brought in?
No, it is just because they know they have been defeated.
Tear gas
Now, we had a very
gas.
peaceful election, and we've just finished. Now they're bringing tear gas, and that is Wafula. We know they wanted to cause chaos in this election, but thank God because we finished.
So what is
and it was announced. So everything is finished. The room is full of tear gas.
So what is your next move, Mheshimiwa?
No, we've just finished. The BBI is fallen here.
We have just finished. As you can see, the assembly is just full of tear gas. But the process is complete. So this is the Baringo County Assembly. And fuck this just full of tear gas.
katika Yesu Bwana tushindi.
Songoni kuja kesho na kupea kukuya. Arresa wapi? Arresa wapi? Arresa.
Baringo, no BBI.
BBI vitu gani? BBI wangepitisha wangelala huko ndani.
Wewe waambie Baringo tumekataa BBI na hatutishwi bana. Hatutishwi. Cheti kabisa. Baringo tumekataa. Tunakataa bana. Tunakataa BBI. Sisi si wanevi bana. BBI no. Kila kona ni asala. Ameni na Gideon boy bana. Wasitikie na pesa yake bana. Hata mtachika juu. Pesa yake ibaki chochote bana. Yeye tutambui BBI bado inafanya kazi. Pesa yake achukue Gideon boy. BBI ni chama gani ishindwe? Pesa tunakula lakini Ruto ndani kabisa. Mambo ya intimidation ya 19 nyanya. Mambo ya kupika tears kwa simple ndani, we really condemn that. Yes. Kama wanambas wangekuja kudebate actively. Exactly. Mambo ya kurusha tears ndani na we want to say statement Baringo that this is UDA zone and Baringo we are against what BBI. And his cronies and government and everybody. We have castrated and we have killed it and we have
wananchi wa Baringo, wananchi wa Baringo na MCS wao ambao walipigia kura leo wamedemonstrate ya kwamba wako behind William Samoei Ruto.
Sina shida hata mwananchi, si ndio? Wewe ni kijana.
Yes, sisi kama wakati wa Baringo tunataka tuseme pongezi kwa MCS kwa sababu hawakutuangusha na wale marafiki za KANU. Unajua mlitumia polisi, mmetupatia kasuko ndani, lakini sisi kama raia tunataka kusema hakuna BBI kwa Baringo. Hakuna BBI Baringo. Sema ulibaro. Na sisi kutoka kesho tunataka kuambia Kenya kwamba sisi tuko nyuma ya William Samoei Ruto.
Kitu moja ni kwamba hata watuletee pesa kiasi gani, sisi wananchi tuko na akili. Niwaambie Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, wacha kutisha MCS. Sisi tunachagua, yeye hawezi chagua. Sisi wenyewe ndio tunachagua rais wetu. Hatutaki maneno yake.
Hata hii msaidi nipate tano niko kwenye. Kuna watu
toka pia bwana, tukutambua bwana. Baro ndani bwana. Piga
Wanazi tunabuya na wilibaro.
Kongo Jehova. Kongo Jehova.
tunashukuru kwa MCS wenye walipigia wenye waliangusha swala kama nionekana hapo bado. Ya pili sasa na MC rais wetu wameonga ma MCS milioni 2 wakapatia magari, nasi wananchi tunadai yetu, hatukutaki gari. Sasa kama amepatia ma MCS magari, hata sisi tupewe maprobox na mwilparo
nani yako na pesa? Mashamba garis, ongea.
Asala nation bwana.
Kusema wacha mission na. Naongea garis bwana,
ongea kuuza miwa.
Unaona hii mambo. Wacha mrasa ongea bwana. Hakuna mrasa asala huyo. Kitu ya kwanza mambo ya BBI tumekataa, kwa sababu wanawezaje kutumia pesa kuonga MCS badala kulipa madaktari? Wanawezaje kufanya hivyo? Shule wamechoma, wanaoshughulika mambo ya shule. Ni mambo ya BBI tumekataa, na tumekataa na kitu ya tatu Uhuru ajue kwamba hatatumia pesa na mamlaka yake kupinga wananchi. Wananchi sisi tunaamua.
Kwanza natangaza kwa Baringo County, BBI ni pepo, ishindwe maradufu. Sisi tunatangaza msimamo yetu. Hiyo kitu inaitwa BBI, hata hatujui, hata hatujasoma, hatuelewi hata ni kitu gani. Alafu tunataka kukemea serikali. Kwa nini wanapeleka tear gas ingie kwa nyumba ya serikali? Hivi nyumba ya serikali na wanaenda kuweka tear gas viongozi wetu. Shame on BBI.
Walipata kuuza miwa. Ndani bwana. Wacha nitoe switch. Bwana.
Umeongea.
Kwa majina anaitwa Peter Tich, natoka upande wa Baringo. Leo tunasherehekea ushindi kubwa kwa ma MCA yetu kupika no. Sisi kama watu wa Baringo hatutaki BBI. Sisi tunataka Ulbaro ambaye tunatambua kwa kazi yake, si kwa maneno peke yake. Kama watu wa Baringo tumefurahia kwa ushindi ya ma MCs yetu kupika no kwa BBI. Na naomba tuendelee hivyo support Asala mpaka kwa president come 2022. Nataka niwaambie hii ni kionjo tu na bado Asala movement is unstoppable. Thank you.
Yes. Jambo la kwanza ningependa kuambia BBI. Kitendo cha tear gas kuingia kwa county government si kitendo cha kawaida. Sisi wote wana Baringo tumeamua na Asla Ruto.
down and accept the fact that it was unprocedural and continue shutting us down, continue refusing us for us to talk, just because he wants himself to be famous in a certain political alienation. What happened today is, after we finished the whole debate, when we went to voting, unfortunately, before the results were tabled, we had a very bad incident, and we suspect that the same incident was conducted by the bodyguard of our speaker, because they were behind the speaker. And where the tear gas came from was from the same place where they were standing. And all of us were in serious communication. We were trying to finish the voting, and all of a sudden we hear a very big bang, a bang behind us, and it was coming from where the bodyguard of our speaker is. Unfortunately, I don't know if they sense defeat or what. But what we need, and we are very adamant and we want it, is we want this document, because it has not been passed, it has not been rejected. We want it to go the procedural way. It is very unfortunate that when the whole chaos started, the speaker wanted to rush and start announcing, but unfortunately he found himself jumping out of the window. A whole speaker anaruka kwa dirisha. That is what happened. Dirisha, alafu anataka kwenda kudanganya ati waliangusha. My friends, the same political, let me tell you, that thing was not passed, and the speaker should not even think about giving fake results and giving it to the House, to the Senate or the Assembly, because we are watching and the people of Baringo are watching, and we want this thing to go to public participation. What happened today was very unfortunate, and the Speaker, you don't resort to such demeaning actions because you want to just have a political future or something. That is very bad, and you stooped too low, very low. Thank you.
Very brief to the point. Okay, your name and of course go to the point.
Yeah, Kenyans, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mcas MCA Chura, my award, former Deputy Speaker of Baringo County Assembly. Today, we woke up for daily business of the House, and surprisingly, we were ambushed by the Speaker with a business that was supposed to have gone to the people of Baringo through public participation. He sneaked back the bill, otherwise called BBI, Constitution of Kenya Review Amendment Bill 2020. He sneaked back to the Assembly when the people of Baringo were awaiting in the field. So we were surprised that a whole speaker who is believed to be a lawyer could do such a heinous non-procedural matter. However, we came to the Assembly and we protested that this matter should go to the people of Baringo through public participation. He was so adamant and made sure that the procedural thing will proceed. Nonetheless, we went back to debating the motion, and when we were almost through with the debate, because our side, the yes side, were many, we were majority in the House, and when he sensed defeat, that is when the unfortunate incident happened. And we suspect that because the Speaker and his allies sensed defeat, and because he is the CEO of the County Assembly, and probably armed with security, where else could we get the tear gas and the guns? As an MCA, we don't have security, so we suspect that the same Speaker orchestrated a scheme. The same Speaker of Baringo County Assembly orchestrated a scheme because he had sensed defeat. And we believe we won as yes team.
Then finally, maybe Mheshimiwa, the point direct to the point, alafu maybe
imefanyika tu assembly.
Alafu maybe alafu wengine wakati tutapatia tu nafasi.
the people of Kenya, this is honest debate rules. I just want to report an incident that we were in the assembly, and given the situation that we were debating a motion that was illegally introduced to the House, but we as good citizens, we participated, and the Speaker, when we requested for division, normally in the House, we have what we call division. When you want to subject anything to a bill, to a vote, and the Speaker followed the procedure, we nominated the clerks, and the clerks were noting the votes. Unfortunately, when the Speaker realized that the yes team was winning, there was a commotion, and we realized already there's a tear gas in the House. And I want to report here that there was no finalization of the process.
Very true. Yes.
The Speaker did not call the clerks to report. So there was no reporting of the results. And what the Speaker or anybody purporting to have read is just these are fake results. So this is null and void. So we are asking, and we want to say that we can even check on the contribution. Those who contributed, the majority were of yes, and we are wondering why the Speaker decided to rule or purported to rule otherwise, and we know that the results were not submitted. So we want to tell the people of Kenya that it is unfortunate that this BBI has been reduced into political contest and just stamping, and it is so unfortunate. I'm calling for the immediate arrest of the Speaker, because how else can he is the one in charge of the assembly, how could he organize such an attack on members of the assembly?
Yes.
We need an investigation. We need an inquiry. How we are in danger. Even some of us already, we are feeling that we are in danger. So we are requesting and we are asking
Immediate arrest of the Speaker.
The Speaker and the clerk, the entire administration. How was the assembly infiltrated, and how did he organize that this bill was going to fall, or he was going to make sure that he follows this bill by all means? It is unfortunate that the Speaker thinks by Baringo becoming the first county to shoot down the bill, he has scored politically. We want to tell him that the people of Baringo, the people of Baringo Central are not so foolish to be cheated in such a manner.
Yes.
So we are just asking and we are requesting that let the procedure be followed. Let this thing go to the public participation. Let us follow the procedure. Let us allow the people of Baringo to have a say in this bill. Most of the people of Baringo have not seen this bill. Let us take this bill to the people of Baringo. And that is what we are asking. The majority of us were asking for that. Let us take this thing to the people of Baringo. And the people of Baringo will have their say. That's all. Okay.
Today, what happened in the county assembly, the voting process was flown, and it was cut short by the tear gas canister. And we know the process was planned, it was pre-planned before. In county assembly, within the prince of the assembly, no one within the assembly, any stranger, any security matters lies within the power of the speaker. So the way the process was managed from the beginning, it was really not good the way the speaker behaved. And it is a high time that the way our speaker, who is supposed to be a arbitrator, need to respect the autonomy of the assembly, need to respect also the people of Baringo. That document was not procedural, it was just brought to bay, it was subjected to discussion and voting. But when people go for a roll call, which is on division, that is when we saw that Speaker was not ready for that, and he decided to use any other means, so that any chaos, so that it can make the process go through the way they want, and has been doing that. So this time round, we are saying that process was not to the end. It was cut short, and it has to start again. We have to start it afresh. The bill has to go a procedural process where it has to go to paper special. It has to be subjected into a committee. There's a legal and affairs committee. Let us do a public participation where all wards, even if it means you don't go everywhere, people can even streamline. We can zoom it all over. And we see the feelings, and the people of Baringo can contribute. Let the document be discussed. Even as MCAs, when we received the document in the assembly, we have never been done any speakers caucus for that document to be discussed on what are the procedures to be done, because our standing order is very clear. But now they are saying this is not a bill. What is it? If this is not a bill, what is it that cannot be subjected into any other process of a bill? So the speaker is now misusing the standing order rule number 1. So, and rule number 1 is very clear. It says where the circumstances or where the law is not clear, and he does not have that monopoly of doing it. And we have to say next time in the process, we don't need someone who has an interest on it, and he has really painted County Assembly of Baringo in a very bad image, and we need to respect the autonomy of the assembly. Thank you so much.
Wow. Situmalizia.
No, the speaker should resign or the clerk. Both of them. As we wind, I want to be very categorical. We have an assembly where the clerk of the county assembly wants to be a governor. We have an assembly where the speaker of the county assembly wants to be an MP Baringo Central. That means these people are willing to do anything to maintain a good rapport for any other political party they would want to stand with. We are even privy to some information that even our speaker has reached a place where they will arrange some per diem for his people so that they can take to some political persons that we know. And it has been happening in Baringo. We want the DCI to come immediately and conduct investigation, especially the tear gas that was thrown today, because we suspect our speaker is the only one person who has an outsider who can be around the assembly premises. Because we cannot continue this way. Our life is in danger. Someone cannot want Papo to fulfill his political ambitions over our safety, over our autonomy as an assembly, and I think it is about time. It's about time we tell each other the truth. If the speaker wants to remain as a speaker who is supposed to be neutral in the house, he should remain neutral and shield his political ambitions until 2022, or he resigns and go and start campaigning in Baringo Central. Even the clerk, we are warning you. You are a civil servant. If you want to be the governor of Baringo, how can you even start oversighting a county government if you want to be also a governor? And you are using the same powers invested in. Instead of advising the speaker, you connive with speaker to make sure that there is no autonomy in the assembly. I think it is about time. Speaker and clerk, you have noticed. Resign or be neutral in the house.
Thanks. Okay, one last one.
Reggae is still on.
Okay, can go ahead.
I'm Honorable Francisca Chebret, and I'm one person that I'm so discouraged to be treated as a that party in my own county. It is so funny that amongst the team who are talking today and saying no, what they were able to say was no. They were not able to explain to the people of Baringo what they were saying no to. And I'm so discouraged to note that out of some insights that we have, Honorable Murkomen, our old senator from Marakwet, is micromanaging Baringo from inside the county assembly. And we are saying that we have girls and boys born in Baringo, and we are very powerful and will not allow that. We know the team met Murkomen yesterday, and that is what they agreed to do, to pin down Baringo because of their differences in the Senate. We cannot be micromanaged from the Senate by Murkomen. Not that we are from Baringo and we will look for you. We are after you because you cannot destroy our county while we are there. Thank you. Okay, thanks.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Kazimo Joy, baby. Kazimo, baby. Kazimo. Kazimo is kazi, Kazimo. Watu wa Baringo, oye. Baringo, oye. Chike Marema, oye. Chike Marema, oye. Kipichumba rafiki yangu, Kipichumba. Colonel Kipichumba. Umeanguka. Maneno ya Moi kwisha kabisa. Maneno ya Moi kwisha kabisa. Asahau kabisa. Asahau kabisa maneno ya kukuwa president wa hii nchi. Gideon ni Moi ni mtu pure kabisa. Ninatoa pongezi sana. Mimi kama Kasmo Choi, mgombeaji wa kiti cha ubunge eneo ya Mcas East. Mwakani next year 2022 Kasmo Choi mwenyewe. Ninapongeza watu wa Baringo, MCS wa Baringo wote. Wale walisema no. Ninataka kuambia wa Kenya wote, MCS Kenya mzima. Hii 2 million muliomba 2014 mupewe 2 million. Mjinunulie gari. Mukakanyagiriwa mafuta na Uhuru Kenyatta. Is your constitutional right ya kupewa 2 million. Wapunge walipewa yao, I think ni 5 million. Hii 2 million ilikuwa ni yenu kutoka 2014. So kupewa hiyo ni haki yenu. Hiyo sio kuongano ati ndio mpitisha hii PPI nonsense. Hapana, ni your right kupewa hiyo pesa 2 million kujinunulia gari. Kwa hivyo msitanganyike. Pewa pesa yako. Hiyo ni right yako unalipwa. Lakini kura ni no. Maneno ya PPI hatutaki. Hatuna pesa ya referendum. Hizo pesa zitumike kwa watoto. Watu wengine hawana chakula. Ndio mimi naambia wa Kenya wote, Kenya mzima, kuleni pesa, say no to PPI. Watu wa Baringo ongera sana. Watu wa Baringo ongera. Sana mimi naongea kwetu Kisii. Na mtaniruhusu baadaye nitaongea Kisii kidogo. Kwetu Kisii hatuwezi pitisha hii PPI iende kusaidia watu wengine na sisi hatuna hata constituency moja. Mimi kama mwenye nimetoka sehemu iko highly populated, Bobasi tuko na 9 wards. Na ward kubwa ni yangu inaitwa Bogetaulio. Mimi kama Omobasi, ababasi banga bwana kubwa. Omobasi onga bwana kubwa. Hatuwezi pitisha. Kisii County, Uhuru Kenyatta anaenda nyumbani next year. Huyu ni outgoing president. Raila Odinga hawezi shinda uchaguzi Kenya hii sasa. Ongwae governor anaenda nyumbani next year. Amemaliza term yake. Wewe kama MCA ukisema yes to PPI ukiwa Kisii County hautarudi. Haki ya Mungu huwezi rudi. Umejichimbia kapuli. Kama unataka kusurvive kisiasa, say no to this PPI nonsense ukiwa Kisii. Maana kila mtu, hiyo ndio kila opponents wako watakupiga vita. Hatuwezi sisi kwa Kisii tupitishe PPI na itusaidie. Ati watu wengine wapate constituency, sisi hatuna. Wale wa MCS wa South Mugirango pia na Kisii yote mzima, no to PPI. Hiyo pesa mumepewa ni haki yenu. Haki yenu. Sema haki yenu. Sio ati mumepewa bure. Hiyo ni haki yenu. It is your constitutional right kupewa hiyo pesa. Munasikia Kenya mzima. Ng'ombe za Raila zimepitisha haraka sababu hawafikiri. Hakuna faida. Wakikuyu masemechi yangu sana kutoka Mkurueni huko Nyeri. Pesa ni zenu. Hiyo kitu wagusha. Yote Wakikuyu wangushe ni hii kitu yote kutoka Kirinyaga. Hizi pesa mumepewa ni right yenu kupewa pesa. Munaangusha kuiangusha. Watu wa Mombasa maneno ya Raila iliisha kitambo. Angusha hii kitu hakuna benefit. Raila mwenyewe alikuwa amepeana orders Mliona masenators kutoka Nyanza, Ruo Nyanza, wakati pesa kugawa pesa, munyanganywe pesa. Ati one man, one shilling. Mungenyanganywa. Kama sio watu walisimama imara wakina Morokomen. Hii kitu inaitwa PPI hatuhitaji saa hii. Tulipe madaktari yetu kwanza, tulipe manases kwanza na madawa kwanza. Hiyo ndio kitu muhimu. Hii katiba ni kitu bure kubadilisha saa hii. This is not the right time. As a country saa hii kuna mambo muhimu na sio katiba kubadilisha. Ndio mimi naambia hapa kusiba minto. Egente kene kwanza seito basi boge taurio. Ma MCA oyore mokoyone ondonga no manyete ntutu gwate muswajo mino Dr. Nero gwate muswajo mino monene sabera oyokuru nyuma kane. Egente ke mapema munaiangusha. Kurubo maamero goro nyacheki na kuru kera mochengo egente kiyonsi biaba maame bonsi pi kuru nyacheki egente kiyonsi pi munakata masige east masige west pasi central egente kimo ya kansemna mo intu ababazi banga bwana kubwa yani nakitora bento bakanwa toakira bando bande eite ko nyarekana intu abas toakanire gende ki mangana yundo tagedi ya toakanire pi ababas bonsi pi ime egende ki mokane kabisa abagirango mate no bali na intwe aba machoke baito egende kenkeyo wachana nayo. So TC we expect hiyo kitu isipite. Wewe ukipitisha ukiwa kisi MCA hautarudi. Umejichimbia kapuli. Nyamira pia. Hiyo ndiyo itaangusha nyinyi. Hautafanya kampeni utaambiwa ulipitisha hiyo nonsense, PPI nonsense. Kwa hivyo Kenya msima tuangushe hii kitu mapema. Tusefu pesa mingi ya referendum. Hizo pesa za referendum sisaidie wa Kenya. Kuna wale wanalala njaa, hawana chakula. Ala Kazimo Joy baby Kazimo. Msema ukweli. Tulisema hii mwaka ni wa kuambiana ukweli. Hii ni mwaka wa kuambiana ukweli. Kama Uhuru Kenyatta amekosea anaambiwa ukweli straight. Na anaendelea kusema kupeana uongozi. Wewe sio Mungu unapeana uongozi. Uongozi unatoka kwa Mungu. Na wananchi ndio huamua. Ati kusema wewe uta hand over power kwani wewe ni Mungu? Uhuru Kenyatta anauliza wewe kwani wewe ni Mungu? Umekuja jana ukiwa mlevi wa kupindukia jana. Umekunywa unaenda kuongea vitu haiko. Uhuru Kenyatta. Sitaki kurudia yale nilisema jana. Mungu ndio peana uongozi. Kama wewe uko na namna ya kuiba, Donald Trump hapa alikataa kusema yeye alishinda. Lakini alitoka mbio asubuhi mapema Biden ndio president. So kama Trump ametoka, ni wewe Uhuru Kenyatta ni kitu gani? Wewe ni inzi, kitu kidogo. Wewe ni inzi. Kitu kidogo. Asubuhi saa 5 ushatoka State House. Bila Samoei Ruto anaingia huko kama ndume kabisa. Wakati Raila hana bahati. Wakati yake iliisha kitambo. Bahati ukuchanga once. 2007 aliachilia hivyo. Mwanaume kamili. Bila Samoei Ruto alimwambia usisaini hiyo document. Hii kitu wewe ndio umeshinda. Angekataa international communities ingeingilia na rais na Uhuru Raila Odinga angekuwa president. Lakini yeye sababu anapenda prime minister iko kwa akili yake. Party ukucha once. That's it. Wewe ukiwa mwanaume ukipata chance msichana amekupenda, ukiachilia kidogo mtu mwingine atanyang'anya wewe. Baadaye utaangalia akikaa maisha bora. Party ukucha once. Ukipata hiyo chance use it. Ndio mimi nasema Kazmo is kazi. Kazmo Joy baby. Kazmo ndani mpaka ine. Nimefurahi sana watu wa Baringo. Wengine fuateni. Tasora kanise. Wengine mfuate. Ndio mimi nasema Kazmo is kazi. Nina expect Wakikuyu wote waseme no kwa hii PPI. Hiyo ndio mimi natarajia. Na mimi narudia 2 million ni haki yenu. Kwa hivyo msiseme ati mumeongwa, hapana. That's your right. Kutoka 2014 mliomba hiyo pesa. Hiyo ni pesa zenu. Weka pesa kwa mfuko na mseme no kwa PPI. That's it. Hakuna mtu anakuuliza, hiyo ni haki yako. Haki yake mupe. Ndio hiyo. Thank you. God bless Kenya. God bless United States of America. God bless my president, Joe Biden. God bless my 50th president, Ruto. God bless the incoming member of parliament for Mcas is the Kazmo Choi mwenyewe. Kazmo Kipchumba Choi. Kazmo Kipchumba Choi. I approve this message. Thank you. Thank you.